Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are weak. We are not alone. We are striving.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs, if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset, start taking iron today.
Thank God it's Friday.
It's Friday, my dudes.
Well, TGIF, ladies and gentlemen. Thank God it's flat. Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's friendly. Welcome to Have No Sphere. My name is Josh Corey. We are joined this week by a full house of usual characters. Let me jump right in and say hello to the boys. Just because I see, well, let's jump in with the Adam Meakin, just because he's the first one I see right here. Right here. So, Adam, how's your week been? You're back home, yeah?
I described it today as it's one of them short weeks that's really bloody long. First week back off holiday, bank holiday, so it's supposed to feel 24, but boy, it went on. Thank God it's Friday. Yeah, looking forward to tonight. A little bit of I was kind of half paying attention Friday because I was doing this new window. But I'm looking forward to getting fully polarized after a recap this evening from Cami. So, other than that, yeah, it's just been work, mate. So, yeah, been really trying to catch up a little bit with what's been going off. It's
and just so we can set the record straight, because I know John is himself just chomping at the bit, waiting to know this. How you feeling? Feeling all right? Holding up? You just back from vacation? You're not sick? You didn't get sick on vacation? You didn't get sick before you left vacation? Health has been fine the whole time?
Yeah.
That's what I like to hear.
Feeling good. Billy Ray.
Huh.
Looking good, Louis. Yeah, good. Oh, good. The liquid diet helps. I'll tell you what I did help, mate, is good, honest. I don't do a lot. My knees are shot. Football when I was a kid. So I don't do much proper exercise, but I was doing some proper gardening and groundwork, and feel good from that. I keep telling the missus, look how ripped I am. Look how ripped I am. Almost, I think there's like an ab, third of an ab sticking out now. It looks. Oh, I think if it's,
if you're counting one ab, I think that's not necessarily like an ab muscle necessarily. It's like not. I don't have a six pack, but I have a keg. I think one ab muscle really counts as like being fit.
Well, one
big ab muscle that hangs over my belt.
Yeah, in Pulp Fiction, where that French chick's talking to Booch, hey Booch, I got a little pot. It's a little bit like that, but it's a little less of a pot now. So, looking more like an ab could, or an Easter egg. Maybe it's just gone seasonal.
There's lots of good oblique exercises to get those outside ab muscles, and they just by definition will help define the whole rest of your little pot right there. And pretty soon you'll be David Beckham walking around the house with 8-pack. Just should be wanting to clean the towels on your washboard stomach.
The hair's coming on a bit Beckham style. Look, I've got a bit of a ponytail. getting longer, but
there you go, Adam. You're growing a ponytail. You're getting a nice slim waist. Way to man up.
That's it. Moving on.
So what do you think about that one, Mr. John Savage? Our whole theory's just been shot to hell. Looks like Adam can actually stay healthy for a vacation.
Yeah, it's nice to hear. Yeah, well done, Adam. It's got to be the first time, isn't it?
I think so. I did lots of nasal douching before I went. Make sure my head was clear so it didn't kick off. So
it must have been you sticking your head between your legs looking at the moon, I think.
Worked a treat. Although it didn't work, John. It didn't work, mate.
Well, I'll take that up with Mr. Thrive and Survive, I think.
Anyway, you're weak, pal, before I'll talk.
Oh, I've been doing bugger all. Nothing interesting. So
how much money have you saved in power?
Oh, I've done shitloads now. Although it's been a pretty murky week, actually. But the other day, the tank was literally boiling. It was that hot. I'm going around looking for stuff to turn on, and dishwasher, washing machine, distiller, everything. It was like cranking out 3.5 kilowatts or whatever. So yeah, it was doing good. And I'm a bit nervous though, because I'm attaching the wood burning stove to the thermal store next Tuesday. So that that will be something, realizing something I've been after for 9 years now. So yeah, quite excited, but bit apprehensive too. And it's cold next week, so I'm going to need some heat. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
We will see how that goes. Lots of luck to you. Stay warm. But still boiling. That's awesome. Nobody died. Nothing blew up. That's
no, it's designed to do that. It's best not to do that, but it is designed to do that. That's why I've got a cast iron radiator going in as a heat sink that weighs more than me. It's huge, so that should help to heat the house and stop the thing blowing up. Anyway, looking forward to the show. Moving on.
Let's get on to someone who I know is just absolutely enthralled by your hot water heating system, John. Is our wondrous blunder from down under, one Mr. Rob Freddy. Rob, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, enthralling, John. Tell me more about your hot water.
Yeah, okay. Right. What it is a thermal... Only if you tell me about your football, mate.
Well, that's Man City beat Man United on the weekend. During the week, so I'm a bit upset with that. Hey, Adam.
Well, you won tonight.
And like Man U laid down for him, I think so. Very annoying indeed. And I'm not a Man U supporter, but
you were 3-0 up last I checked tonight, Rob. Game's over. And scored after about 15 seconds tonight.
We're pretty good. John would have been dancing when that first goal went in.
I can imagine the joy on his face.
I'd have been asleep by then, I think. Any game that you can watch for 90 minutes and no one scores anything is just utter waste of time.
We've all scored. If we watch sport, everyone scores. Everyone kicks a goal if you watch sport, mate. All right?
That's not quite what scoring meant in my day, but there you go.
Scoring's finished for me. All right, move on.
So you had a good week, Rob. I'm glad you're joining us on a regular basis again. I really have missed you. Even though I
haven't.
You.
Yeah.
Don't compliment him. You know he can't take it.
I know.
So leave me alone. I'll comment when I need to. Okay.
Well, let's get on to somebody who I know is willing to comment. Someone who is known for his wondrous at-home DIY experiment. One Mr. Zachary, Too Nice for Rice. Navin Johnson, the Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man. Zabala, I don't know.
I thought he was going to do it.
I know there's another one that I missed.
That so bad.
I just figured I'd either stand there and have the pregnant pause whilst I think about how many other nicknames I've missed. I'd just move on. Which one was it? Or two? Nobody? Anybody? Which ones did I miss? Navin Johnson? Marshmallow Man?
Too Nice for Rice.
Too Nice for Rice.
Can you guys
Nomad?
guys hear me?
That's one. Nomad. There you are, Zachary.
There he is. Yeah, we finally do.
Hi, Zach.
Hi, how's everybody doing tonight? Am I coming through all right?
Yeah, you're a little choppy.
Yeah, there's about 1,000 people that just showed up at the state park, so I'm sure everybody's on the Wi-Fi now.
That's what you call prodigious timing.
Yeah, it's Friday, my dudes.
It's Friday.
No, I'm doing all.
He's doing awesome, everybody. Zach did join us this morning over there on the Ironworks on Truth Frequency Radio. Myself and one Mr. Walter Johnson. Zach, you're breaking up a little bit, so don't mind. I'm just going to move on along until hopefully they get off, or you can find some spot that's going to be a little more secure. But Walter Johnson, he joined us over there on the Ironworks on Truth Frequency Radio this morning at 4 a.m.
I did indeed. Sorry I couldn't find my mute. I was laughing at Mike Stewart's little comment about finding out his special purpose. Shout out Navin Johnson. Anyway, welcome everybody in chat. I'm trying to play catch up now because I'm about to start doing all the fun stuff I do while the show's going on, and I won't be doing any of that. So hello to anybody I missed in chat. Welcome to the new people. Thank you, Roxanne, for bringing new folks. I saw somebody say there, lots of new people. Welcome. I don't want to scroll back through and miss anybody again. So we had a great show this morning over there on TFR. If you're not getting up early and hanging out, I don't blame you. It is early, but you could always listen to it on the rebroadcast or check it out somewhere in the link, probably in the description of this show. All right, that's enough plugging.
Sure.
And how was the rest of your day? So, Josh, you said you had a bit of a story to share with us. You've had quite an exciting week, my friend.
Well, at one point I asked my son, because he's a senior in high school this year, I says, David, are you going to prom? And David says, no, I don't think I'm going to go. The very next effing day, he comes back to me, and apparently he's going to prom. And this was only maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. So we got everything in order. And I've just sort of been running around. I'm still going to have to maybe bail out a little bit early because we got to go pick up his tux. So we got to do any last minute alterations.
Live streaming from the floor, dude.
Nutty. But Fridays, I only work 4 hours. It's my extra day, my 4 hours of overtime. So I get off at 10 a.m. and I've got all day to relax before I come here and start to do show prep. So I'm at work. It's like 8 a.m. and I get a text from my son. Hey, I overslept. I'm on my way. Can you just call and let the school know? Not necessarily uncommon for that to happen. So not a problem. Call the school. Lady answers. She says, well, is David going to prom? So I says, yeah, he's going to prom. She said, well, if he's more than 10 minutes late, which he will be, then he's going to need a doctor's note. Okay. I guess he'll be back up there with a doctor's note because he's late. Whatever. Okay, fine. He wants to go to prom. I'll make sure he gets you a doctor's note. So now he's sitting at home with nothing to do, waiting for me to get off work so I can go pick him up to go drive him to the urgent care to have them get him a simple note just to excuse him for these first few hours. He was only going to be maybe 20 minutes late, but because instead of being 10 minutes late, he was going to be 20 minutes late. He needed to get a doctor's note. So now instead of being 20 minutes late, he's 5 hours late because we had to go through the whole rigmarole of going through the urgent care. And I'll be damned if the dumbass doctor didn't feel the need to really press as to his reason for him to be there, even though we explained 3 times already that we just need to get this red tape removed, a red tapeectomy, because there's too much red tape just to get this kid to go to prom. But we got the note just in time for me to go drop him off, come back home, do just a tiny little bit of show prep, turn around, go back up to his school to pick him up because now it's 2:00 and school's out. Then just to come back here and get everything done. So my nice, calm, relaxing day has not been calm and relaxing. Did I mention that last night my car broke down after work? So I had to find rides and go track down my tensioner pulley, go put it on in dusk, damn near dark at this point because work's over with, right? So now I'm putting on my tensioner, brand new whole thing tensioner pulley because somehow my old one just sheared completely off my motor. So now I'm putting that on in the dark. But I finally got my car back up and running, got it back home just in time to take my son back to his mom's house so I can come back home and get just a few hours of sleep before I can get up at 3 a.m. on a Friday morning, do 2 hours of live radio, go to work, come back, and that's my day. So, yeah, I am sure glad to be here with you fine folks because TGIF.
And they call us whinging.
It's all right. Prom's almost over. It doesn't go beyond this weekend. So all I got to do is figure out what the hell he's going to be doing tomorrow so I can either drive him or not, because I don't know, and get that out of the way. And then I think I'll be golden. But that's been my week. That's been my last couple weeks, seems like. Just sort of work and hectic BS and just trying to squeeze out as much shut-eye as I possibly can with the time in between. But today we've got a good show.
Yes, we do.
Today we're getting updates we've not had in weeks. They've taken off and left us here in the lurch, not knowing what the hell's going on. But we've got Robin, and I do understand Roxanne is on her way. So we will have Roxanne and Robin here to give us updates to find out exactly what's happening. And Miss Cami returns. We had such a kick-ass show last week. We had to try to duplicate it. We wanted to add to it. We needed to expand, to expound, and to cover some more ground. So we got Cami coming back on with us just as soon as we get our updates from Roxanne and Robin. And since I see Robin there waiting so patiently whilst I ramble on, let me just jump right in and say hello to Robin Campbell as well. Robin, how are you doing this week?
Hey, Josh. I'm doing good. Thank you. And lovely to be here. And hi to Cami. Lovely to meet you, Cami.
So nice to meet you.
Yeah, and I've had a really good couple of weeks, guys, or a few weeks. Apologies for not getting through to you last time. I think I was saving up some updates. You know, we've been trying to pace ourselves with speakers, and today Roxanne and I had an announcement to make. So I'll stand by while she comes on. But before we do that, I actually have some news which nearly hit the national TV networks, and the one and only Sleeping Warrior nearly went into bat for us on GMTV. You may know the British TV host for a Good Morning show called Richard Madeley, and Charlotte Hawkins was her co-host. And they rang me up, being the convention organizer, to find out if I could put someone on who would do a debate against a scientist. That scientist would have been an astrocosmologist. She is a NASA fangirl, and who better to face off to someone like that other than Tony? And the reason I knew Tony was really good at this, not only because I subscribe to his channel, watch him do what he does, but also he's helped me out recently with a 27 email exchange with a scientist who I caught on the top of a hill recently, looking out across the Welsh Brecon Beacons, where you can see 55 miles. And I caught him, and I did it deliberately. I had my camera and my microphone. I recorded the conversation. I put it on my channel, but I didn't expect him to hunt me down. He hunted me down, found my email address, told me I was wrong. We did an email exchange, which involved me getting a little bit stuck and out of my depth. I'm not used to getting into the maths and all of that. I thought I knew what I had to say. You know, let's get stuck on what's the scientific method and all of that good stuff. But I thought I'd rope Anthony into it because I know he's brilliant at doing that. And so that's what happened. Anthony started quoting the scientific method, citing some really good reference material. And by the time we finished this 27 email exchange, this guy backed into a corner and said, actually, yeah, I do admit I have a belief system, but I'd rather place my trust in the giants of the past, Einstein and Newton. And of course, I was delighted that he mentioned Tesla as well, because that just gave me the in I needed. And you know which quote I'm going to say, don't you? What's it like when Einstein was asked, what's it like being a giant genius? He said, I don't know, ask Tesla. And Tesla said, scientists have wondered equation after equation until it bears no relation to reality. But this email exchange is so impressive. It impressed on me how good Anthony is at doing this. And what happened was the TV host, I'll put Anthony on a 3-way call, and they were qualifying me and Anthony as to what we're going to do. It's a 10-minute slot. We're going to do 5 questions each. And the opening gambit, wait for this, was how do you prove the globe? What a softball question. and Tony had 5 brilliant questions, which were going to be thrown across the fence to this astrocosmologist. And she rang back about an hour later and spoke to Tony and said, yeah, we've got the recording of it. Actually, I should play it, but it's a real U-turn. Oh, something else has come up, some really important news. We might not be able to do it this weekend. We really want to do it though.
What?
Yeah, right. So I just want to tip my hat to Anthony for supporting me there. And if he did get the chance, I think he would have done really well. So yeah, big thumbs up to Anthony for that. And we're also gonna walk through that email exchange, because there's a lot of learnings in there for those who get a bit stuck like I did.
That's a great idea.
How do you handle it? So we'll be going live next Monday, I think, to do that. So yeah, that's it. And yeah, Roxanne and I've enjoyed a bit of attention. I had an approach from a French TV company this week, and they wanted to do a short piece at the end of May on a big national French TV slot. So Jason, Roxanne and I had a chance to kind of pitch what we would like to have in that 10-minute slot, 15-minute slot.
Make sure you wear your yellow vest, Will.
Yeah. And on Sunday morning, actually, there's a professional film company in Bristol who just got funding to do their own little short drama piece. And that's going to be on a flat earther played by a non-flat earther, ironically, showing what it's going to be like to get the mix and match of psychological, reactions from being out there doing activism. So they're going to come and watch me do a bit on Sunday, and they're going to go and talk to Roxanne, because the leading part in this short drama is a lady, it's a female role. So they're going to pick Roxanne's brains and try and get some character, attributes downloaded for this piece. So I think that should be great too. Now I think Roxanne's going to be a little late, and I don't want to delay Cami too much. So what I suggest we do is we announce that when she comes on, she can obviously help as well. But Roxanne is going to be my co-host for the convention, which is awesome. And she'll help me, be master of ceremonies and introduce the speakers, and be my co-host. So I'm absolutely thrilled about that, because I think I'm going to have my hands full otherwise. And yeah, really delighted that she's there, because we're obviously preparing for the tour. And Roxanne will have a few things to be getting on with before then. I'll make sure all she has to do is help announce the speakers. But obviously thrilled that she's there, because there's a lot of people really keen to meet Roxanne and look up to her, and she's really inspiring for a lot of people. So just delighted that she's helping.
Really good. Just on that point, what are the ticket sales like now? Because I seem to remember, and my memory is pretty bad, but Adam saying something about ticket sales back in, after
Yeah.
Easter, was it?
Well, I had a target of getting my deposit back by the end of March, and I did that. So that's the main thing. I'm not at risk anymore. But yeah, ticket sales are moving. We've had enough to know that the combinations work. You know, the clusters of 6, 4, 2. There's those that are taking a day ticket on a Saturday and a Sunday, and you know, those that are switching around. You know, where there's a lady who wants to bring her husband on the Saturday and her son on the Sunday. So I think the combinations are going right. But I do expect them to pick up, because people sort of go, yep, I really want to do that now. But it's all about finances and just booking your dates and getting that sorted. So I expect a really big peak in the summer, to be honest. So,
That's brilliant. Yeah, I'm sure you'll get it.
Oh,
It had
100%.
something to do with a ball pool, didn't it, Adam?
Can't remember what you said, but
It was yeah, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, well, I said, wasn't it off the sales and I'll pay for a ball pet? We had a little look at that, Roby. I'm still waiting to hear back from them, Robin, actually.
No worries, but I think the target for me is just to go further than Gary and Dee Dee did last year, if I can, you know, and that was 200 tickets. So let's aim for 300, 350. I'll be absolutely over the moon. 200 would lock down the actual venue to be exclusively ours. I'm sure we can do that. So that's my target. Let's go for 300, 350. I'm getting loads of inquiries. And
where do people go if they want to get tickets?
So that's feconvention.com. Click on the Kidderminster link and you'll see the combinations there. People can save going with families and children in groups. And yeah, you can pick a Saturday ticket, a Sunday ticket. And if you want, you know, a nice hotel room somewhere else, then that's absolutely fine. Just come and book a day ticket with us and go stay in the hotel nearby. And there's lots of Airbnbs, hotels. You just go on booking.com or Airbnb and you'll find a nice place locally. The rooms at the venue are priced for kind of group bookings. So, you know, if you're a couple and you want some privacy, then I recommend a hotel nearby. But there's plenty of good room rates nearby, sort of 60, 70 pounds a night. You can't go wrong with that, really. That's really good value because the Midlands is cheaper than most areas. But if you're booking with friends or same-sex groups, come and have a cluster ticket. And the Saturday night is with the one and only Mark Devlin. We've got the golf club next door, which means there's a bar, a dance floor. It's exclusively ours. Mark Devlin will rock the house, and it's 5 minutes walk down the road. So we can all wobble back afterwards, and it'll be a good time. Had by all.
Did we know Mark Devlin was DJing there? Because I knew he was meant to be in Amsterdam, but I think something fell through on that front. So I'm not sure we knew he was doing the UK one.
Well, forgive me if I've been lapsed in the last month, not doing many updates. But yeah, the one and next year he's sacked. He's never coming on again. Mark Devlin will be with us, so we're delighted about that. And I've got a little promo on our channel, my channel. What kind of music he does is phenomenal.
That will be cool. So Mark Devlin and Roxanne. Any other announcements?
I've got to keep a few more up my sleeve, guys, for the next month. But yes, we do have some more announcements. I mean, we mentioned Marilyn Teed's coming to help Jason with activism. She'll be doing some of Ireland and back into the UK. I've managed to fly Mark Sargent out to Sweden, in between Cardiff, going off to Sweden, coming back to Birmingham for Saturday, and speaking on the Sunday. So he's got conventions coming out of his ears now. But
what's he doing in Sweden?
There's alternative thinking type convention, and he's doing a flat earth slot there. If you look at the schedule, there's virtually no flat earthers there, so he's done well.
Because he's in New Zealand at the moment, isn't he? I think we've got Karen B taking over his show.
That's right, yeah.
Getting around, isn't he? Getting about.
I'm so chuffed he's there. And Paul on the plane will be doing some activism with Mark on the bus with D Marvel and Jason. and Marilyn and Nora. And Roxanne's probably going to drive if she can to take Nora into Dublin. I mean, what a team. That's going to be amazing. But imagine Mark Sargent with a banner behind him and all on the bank, the banner is just going to be awesome.
Well, hopefully Roxanne can join us a bit later. Have we reached out, Josh, or
she's definitely around. I'm not sure why she's not joining us.
I just asked her. But I think she's still taking the dog for a walk. So
I know I sent her a link on Facebook, possibly Skype, but I think it might have just been you, Robin, who I sent it to on both.
Okay, let me send it to her.
I can track her down.
Gents, I yield the floor so we can have your very special guest come on. But thanks for giving me a few minutes again. Really appreciate it.
No, we're glad to have you back. We've missed you the last few weeks.
Yeah, welcome, Robin.
Absolutely, man. You guys, I'm doing everything I can to figure out a way to get over there because this thing is going to be huge.
You're not kidding. It is. It's snowballing. And the support we get is really nice. It's really touching. You know.
But how long is it now? Because we're under the 6 months, I assume.
Yeah, so May, June, July, August, that's the 4th month. Yeah, 4 months away to the start of the tour.
Flying, isn't it?
It is. It is. And Jason passed his HGV today as well, so congratulations for him. So that, not that he needs it for the caravan, but it just gives him a fallback position for work and things like that. So really, really pleased for him.
Yeah, well done, Jason. That's not an easy test either.
No, he was a bit worried about it, but he's quite a cool character. I think he does prep reasonably well. There's a big gap though. He says it's a bit of a scam. You know, they give you the
complete scam.
They give you all the material and do the training, and then almost deliberately wait 4 months before they can give you a test date. How much does it cost? 600 quid for the test.
Yeah, but that's just the test, isn't it? But what about all the training and everything? I mean, over here, well, we are over here, but yeah, they'll train you up, but you've got to work basically slave labor for a year or 2 years after you've passed the test for the people that sponsored you through it. But I think the actual whole process is in the thousands, not just 600. I mean, I paid 500 just to get a motorbike license. Right. And that was God knows how many years ago. It's a total and utter rip-off. And they'll also retest you for the HGV now. You have to go for retests and jump through all sorts of bloody hoops because, you know, they can't have people earning money by driving. That's just not on. Anyway, on a lighter note, this week I'd love to just put a shout out to David Weiss for his interview with Owen Benjamin. I enjoyed that immensely. I think he did really well, and I must say, for a air quote celebrity, Owen Benjamin has got my attention. I think the guy is actually incredibly genuine, very intelligent, and David put out a short 15-minute clip of Owen Benjamin asking questions and stuff earlier yesterday, I think it was, but it was just fantastic. It's the response I would expect from a higher mind when met with the possibility of the earth being flat. He's gone away, he's done his research, he's screamed and shouted at 3,000 people in the live audience, asking them for proof of
So just on that, John, he kept on going on about ham radio, and I reckon any sort of radio works better on a flat earth than it would on a globe. So
logically,
I didn't understand what his argument was
just
at all.
The whole theory of how they bounce things off the layering of the atmosphere to make it go around the earth, which to me is just an excuse to make up.
That's right. All you need is
on a flat plane, right?
Yeah, no, you just high aerials and.
Well, what if you put your ham radio in the North Pole and you could broadcast all the way to the South Pole? What would the map look like of your broadcast area?
Ducting, mate. Ducting. Atmospheric ducting.
I think it would look like it has.
That's why you can hear Mexican AM radio late at night because of the atmosphere or whatever.
He kept on going on and on and on about it. You know, throughout the whole interview, he was talking about the ham radio, and yeah, for me, that's not a proof at all. It's not one bit of proof.
I can't comment because I don't know anything about ham radio, but I've spoken to one of the leading ham radio operators they're not called ham radio, they're amateur radio operators in the UK, and had a back and forth email with him for 6 months at least last year. My best mate is a radio operator, or was a radio operator in the army, and he's just got back into shortwave radios, and they do think that it only works on a ball, and I just find that really odd.
I've always thought it odd, John, because no problem with them ascribing a pattern, or certainly a some kind of rebound. But the logical conclusion for me is that, again, it's a presupposition, because what they do is they take that relationship and they apply it to a ball, which it may well work, but for me, the only thing that you can apply it to is the shape of the thing it's rebounding off. You can't then apply a secondary supposition to state that it's a presupposition if you then change how you're figuring out the rebound angle, if you're basing it on a ball already. Does that make sense? You have to, first of all, surely what that would do would give you a different shaped dome that the image is reflecting off, and that's actually the only thing you've got data for. So I think that's what you should draw.
No, they sort of say it I don't know what you mean. It's a presupposition. They say it only works on a ball because Earth is a ball and it works. And it's like, that's sort of a circular argument there. It's like, okay, but how do you know? You don't know what it's bouncing off. You can't trace these things other than knowing that it gets to its destination and possibly back again. Surely if something like radio waves is bouncing off something, then the scatter is going to be incredible. But like I say, I'm talking out my arse here because I don't know anything about shortwave radio, not enough to be able to talk about it. But I would love to hear two hams going at it, one flat, one round, just so that I could pass it on to other shortwave radio fans that think it's ball unique.
Yeah, thanks for that heads up, Rob. And I do see that David Weiss is in chat. Said Owen Benjamin is waking up to everything. Apparently there were 7,800 people in that live chat. That is mind-boggling. And I really had to sort of put my hat in hand, because I said from the beginning when he first started talking about the flat Earth and Eric Dubay, I said that I thought that he and Eric Dubay were communicating sort of offline and had this whole thing pre-planned, and it was just a slow rollout. And I'd say by the time that he and David got around to having that conversation, by the end of the conversation, I am willing to say I was completely wrong. I think that it was completely organic, and he came to this about as naturally as anybody could. And I was just probably being a bit too conspiratorial, but yeah, this seems completely organic and inspiring to see. It's always exciting to see, the 7 stages of flat Earth as the awakening happens.
As it happens live. Yeah. I mean, it's brilliant. I mean, it's easy to get conspiratorial about everyone who's, possibly a celebrity. Let's face it, he's a comic, and, he's got a huge following. But I think you could just see in his eyes and the frustration that he was showing on some of his hangouts was just palpable, really.
But you can see him thinking. You can see him thinking when David was saying a few things. You could see the cogs turning in his head a few times. He's trying to get his head around it, isn't he?
Yeah,
the bit
and
I
boy,
like
have those cogs had an oiling recently. Sorry, Adam.
I was just going to say the bit I like from listening to it is what Josh alluded. He is coming at it with honest, open eyes from his perspective, and the bit that took me as a bit newbie from him was when he was talking to David and kind of making some demands that in some way getting hold of a map would verify the whole thing and sort it out. And I think he's still at that point that actually you can just get a map, it will sort the whole thing out and the world will be better, because it is such a big lie. And it's good when he first hit the scene. It was good when he did that thing where he was just mind farting the whole experience, because it summed up so many of the things that we've all been through.
And David rightly pointed out that the ball doesn't have a map either. And he was thinking, yeah. What did you see it, Cami? What did you think of it?
Let me take me off of mute. I think you guys are covering it perfectly with it, that the ball really doesn't have a map. The map is, people do know what the map is. We don't, but again, the map is not an unknown, but it's solving the mystery of getting there. And it's a much bigger picture than I think people understand.
I don't think, Cami,
in other words, the lines on the map are just the lines on the map. The earth is flat. The most thing you get, the most important fact that you're going to get to is that you're not living on a spinning ball. Look at it, try to prove that. When you start looking at the map, you can start putting it together, and it can, it makes, I think we're making good logical sense.
Don't mind me, that's the wrong keyboard.
I love that. But again, I thought he did a brilliant job in handling it. It is a newbie question on it. I can see where, again, if we had the exact perfect map, it would answer a lot of the questions. I give him on that. But again, if they had a globe map that worked, it would answer the globe questions, and we wouldn't be here in the first place.
Yeah, well said.
Exactly.
And you are working on said map
at
the moment, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
We are trying to work on said map. I think we're getting pretty far with it. We're going to have mistakes along the way, but I think that we're slowly pedaling towards it. And I don't know, what are your opinions on it, gentlemen? Or Walt? Talk to me, Walt.
Crickets.
I was looking for my mute button, and I was still playing catch up in chat and everything else. I mean, this whole thing, the way it's been unfolding with, I mean, the whole idea of trying to even worry about the map at this point. I mean, as we know, there's shows we've seen, the little clip from, I don't know what show it was, where they talk about this in the science world and the real world of how the fucking map don't work. It never has. There was some Japanese map that came out, 2-3 years ago, that was all weird and slanted and swirled. It's supposed to be the most accurate world map ever, and nobody talks about that, So it's to focus on that endlessly is just another straw man. That's all it is. And we know what you're doing is going to get us there. So that's all that matters.
The map thing, Walt, it was, for me, was another thing, because Owen kind of states it as a something that we should aspire to as flat earthers, to attain, and that's accurate. And I thought David was really good in that he didn't jump all over that, because it would have been very easy to go, oh, the globe's a load of bollocks. But I thought it was very, because there's a lot of learning that I think. And this is what I say is great viewing, because to watch an honest man attack this information is going to be fantastic. And I think as it goes in, that'll be an interesting thing to see him rip apart the globe, because he does hold quite an audience, doesn't he? I think the way he presents,
he definitely does,
with confidence.
He's got a good mind.
Yeah.
He's got a very, very quick brain.
Well, that's why his comedy is already interesting for me, because not only have I gone through his live stuff and watched him kind of break apart. Sorry about the background noise. Break apart the moon landing and all that, because I got in on some of this early, like David did, and watched it progress and kind of already thought he's way ahead of the curve on this one, I believe, and he is, obviously, with the correct questions. But there are still some things that make you think, well, he's still weighing options, which is the best way to do this. So going back to check out his comedy, I highly recommend, because that whole mentality of just fuck this snowflake world of oversensitized. You can't even have comedy in this world anymore, just about. It's ridiculous. So don't even get me. I don't want to Walt rant. We need to get on to Cami stuff.
No, it's a good Walt rant. It's very much true. I'm hoping, maybe Owen will be another person that will be a mappy, one of the small geek nerd, type of people that looks at what works, what doesn't work, and help us along the way. It's, it's hard to say.
He seems to be the type of person who'll just go, fuck it, I'm going to Antarctica and going to see what's going on, take his 7-foot stride out there.
Yes, sir.
I'd love to see that.
There's so much going on in flat earth for people that say that it's dying, it's flatlining, it's going away. In every direction you look at it, it's coming from everywhere in all directions. The conferences, I've been to a lot of conferences now. I did the Raleigh one, the Denver one, and the one up in Edmonton in Canada. And I can't tell you what it's like to get around a group of people. You can find whatever interests you in your niche, be it NASA deception, be it how it all works in my case, be it the social aspects, the political aspects, all of the cosmology, the astrology, all of the different areas in that. Everybody has got things that they're drawn to, and you get with so many people around you. I can't explain how much the energy is off of the scale and what it does to refresh and replenish you. So anybody considering going to the conferences, I would think it's priceless. I don't know how much the conferences cost, but the experience is priceless, and you come away from it a very changed person, humbled. I recommend it for everybody.
Do you mind if I record that clip, Cami?
Please do.
That was the perfect advert for a convention. Amazing. But yeah,
they are amazing. The work that goes into it is, people don't understand how much work and how much love and how much sweat and how much tears and energy and putting together this thing that you don't know. Is anybody going to attend? Are they going to, make fun, mock? What will the political climate be in it with all of the, things that go outside of it? But really, when it comes down to it, again, the opportunity to get around this much energy and people that you can share your worries, your thoughts, things that are going on in your mind, and these people are on the same page as you. There's nothing healthier than the opportunities. So even if you couldn't afford the conference, and we had people in Denver that couldn't pull it together, they came anyway to the events and things around it. Again, find yourself, if you want a little bit of good mental health, find yourself around where you're not feeling so crazy or so isolated, and you can actually express, again, your thoughts, your fears, your different experiences and journeys that you are going through on getting there.
Amazing.
Absolutely. There's nothing like having the real energy exchange. These screens are great to talk and get ideas back and forth, but feeling the real energy when you're talking to somebody that gets it.
Yes.
There's nothing like it.
And the hug on it. And even again, just
the hug.
Seeing the people and the hug where you
actually hug, that was the most amazing thing. It was just
hugging Zach, and again, the exchange, Zach and I spent some time together in Denver. How special was it, Zach? Because in my book, there was nothing, again, it keeps you going through the hard weeks. This was a hard week for a lot of people. A lot of people have had stuff thrown. It seemed, again, like all kinds of stuff thrown at them. Little things in my world were puppy training. And so we had the 3 o'clock in the morning accident on the bed. little things like that. But you have the big things going on. We had a crash in Denver that has our highway closed down. One of our main highways closed down through tomorrow. They're saying that it was a semi that barreled down the mountain and went into a traffic jam. And there were 24 cars and 3 other semis. So there was a total of 28 vehicles, and they're still counting the dead right now. I've never seen such a fiery mess. And so like that's the energy even in Denver going on. Is it sometimes feels like a train wreck or a barreling down the mountain. And
I think I heard about that accident where the truck just exploded. It like
yes,
off the road, came back, and then just blew up. Which I thought was really strange because that happens a lot in the movies, but not so much anywhere else.
In reality, they caught it happening here. So you wonder why it blew up the way it did. It was I-70. Anybody familiar with Denver? It was coming down where they tell the brake, the truckers, their signs coming down the whole mountain. Truckers stay in low gear, check your brakes, da-da-da-da. And it was coming down into the mountains, into Denver, right where it breaks the mountains and the foothills into Denver on I-70. And it looks, I don't know if he fell asleep, if he, they don't know if it's mechanical. They do, I mean, it's sad to say at this point because they're still trying to find bodies, but they do, I mean, what was in the news is that he survived being in a truck, but he's going to be up for multiple vehicular homicide charges. And they don't know exactly what the cause was, but yeah, he barreled. It doesn't look, you can see on the videos, it doesn't look like any brakes or anything were attempted. It was taking a truck full blast down a mountain, probably 100 miles an hour or something. You see it whizzing by fast, just into a traffic jam. There was a bus accident a few miles up the road where a bus and a car did that. So in rush hour, traffic slows down. So traffic was at a crawl, rush hour traffic, and a semi just exploded into it.
So I don't think it was Robert Ludlum, but there's an author out there that writes these like government psychological spy thriller type novels. And this is probably 15 years old. I read it a long time ago, reasonably speaking. But one of the base premises of this was that there were people running big rigs, but as drones. They were remote controlled, and they were people like drone pilots driving these remotely just down the highways at these high speeds, windows tinted, you can't see in, but there's just these trucks, autonomous trucks driving down the highway, transporting stuff, and nobody does realize that there's really nobody in there. It's just completely remote controlled. And when I heard this story about this truck crash on Highway 70, that's the first thing I thought of, because that just doesn't sit right. Something about that story didn't sit right.
Watching somebody had in their car, there was somebody in a car that was just doing a YouTube or whatever broadcast talking where they had the camera on. And again, they're at their crawl talking, and you just catch it. It goes by in a wisp. I'm thinking, I mean, it looks like it's 100 miles an hour. This truck just barrels like on the side lane, the shoulder, but then back into the traffic under the bridge. It's.
Did the news try and propagandize it at all as terrorist or?
Not yet. It's still, again, they did the news last night because of the cars. What happened is I guess a whole bunch of cars wound up underneath the semis. But like even last night, they were saying like 4 semis and 8 cars or 12 cars, or it was such a fiery mess that you didn't know the extent. So even once they got the fire out, you couldn't see these cars under the semi. They're melted into it. And that it's still too shocking right now. Like, when you're in the midst of it, where before you do that, I know it was strange that there was no slowdown in the truck. It didn't look like they were trying to brake or do anything. And I don't know, again, where they would be going with it, if it is a terrorist or how it's done. Right now, it's just a huge sense of loss in the community, and you feel the energy. I mean, you feel like energy of a great loss. Looking at and driving that stretch and the way traffic is and how quickly it exploded, and that there would be no way that people didn't die. In other words, it's not a fake. It's too wide open in that it's not a pretend.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Staged event.
False flag.
It's not a staged event. You see how quickly there are too many people that had cell phone cameras and things like that, and the way it happened. Yeah. So you're seeing, yeah, again, going where there are multiple vehicles, they're putting it in, out. That's like lumber going all over the place, but it really was rush hour. And you could see the smoke from all the way across town. Like after the fest, now under these semis and this, they're gonna find as they burn down and do this, a whole bunch of cars actually underneath the semis. And again, if you see, it will take you further in the crash, and that when they show you later on in the news and getting it down, the mess of it is crazy. So you have all kinds of crazy, like dark events in that going. Interesting week and interesting energy, how everybody seems to feel the same.
It is their sacrificial fucking month.
So this one, if it was a sacrifice, again, to know that it happened on our, like one of two major, or I don't know if that's a bigger thoroughfare or if I-25 is. But again, this is the crossroads right into Denver. And look at that burnt mess underneath it. There's 28 vehicles in that burning thing going on there. And seeing them this morning and pictures of it, it's crazy.
Well, what you're talking about for sure is something I know is they're building, Josh, on that idea. I mean, there's already automated systems involved in the trucking industry that are way beyond anything we all know about. Tie that in with all these computer systems that people say there are kill switches for, there are control systems for throughout, in hands of people that really shouldn't frickin' have their hands on it, and then mix that in with their lovely little sacrificial month here. So I don't know. I guess we should move on.
Right. It's to know it again, brakes cutter, the way they do it, automated ways to take over, but it was an unusual accident to the fact that it didn't slow down at all. Roxanne!
I did it. I knew I could do it. I've been trying to get her in the background the last few minutes. It was rough, but we did it. Welcome, Roxanne. Hello.
I'm good. Awesome to see you here, sweetheart. Big love and much respect to you, sweetheart. I've just been listening to what you guys have been talking about. It's been an awesome show so far. I've loved every minute of it. I've been itching to see you come out, and some of the stuff that you've been looking into, Cami, is absolutely mind bending. And it's like a breath of fresh air seeing you here, so it's lovely. And guys, you're fantastic as usual. So this is music to my ears.
Welcome, Roxanne. Welcome back. Good to see you.
Guys.
Evening, Roxanne. You're right, mate.
Hello, Adamski. How are you, my darling?
Not bad.
Good.
Always a pleasure, Roxanne. Nice to see you.
Right back at you, my darling. Good to see you too, sweetheart. Loving that blue skies in the background there.
So it's congratulations to you, is it, Roxanne?
Is it?
With Robin's announcement.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Tell us all about it.
Yes. So I am going to be co-hosting the Kidderminster Convention with Robin in Birmingham, which is from the 13th to the 15th of September. And to be honest with you, I'm pretty stoked. I can't believe it, to be honest with you. It's getting closer and closer, but just the thought of meeting everybody and being just like Cami just said, you couldn't have said it better. Just from going to some of the meetups, the what you get out of going to things where like-minded people are going to is much more than whatever the monetary price is to go. The train, the plane, whatever it is. So that's the main part I'm really looking forward to, meeting people I haven't met before. And listening and hearing and seeing things that I haven't seen before. So it's going to be a good look.
Awesome. Yeah. Cami couldn't have done a better job expressing how that will feel for those that come.
Yeah.
We just do the marketing and the pulling things together. But it's the energy of everyone jointly that creates a knockout event, and I don't think most attendees know what they're going to get, except if you've been before. So if you were there in April last year, then fair enough. But if you haven't, and you've not even been to a meetup, then
I didn't go last year. I didn't have the pleasure of being there and experiencing everything last year. So, I mean, you went, didn't you?
I did.
And Adam, were you there?
Oh yeah.
Last year? Yeah.
It's good to hear you
Yeah,
guys because
there's a number of people. I think Jason went, Charlotte went, Ruben was there, Dave Manor was there. Quite a few people went, but yeah, this time it's going to be even bigger, even more energy.
to me, guys, that is the real.
That's awesome. So, yeah, Cami's back.
I came back. Am I?
Sorry, I was muted there, guys. I was just trying to say, Robin. For me, that is music to my ears because when both the conferences were announced, I know I'm not poo-pooing the speakers or anything. I always said, for me, real buzz is the meeting of the people and people you chatted with online and like Martin Leakey to meet Martin. And you said it earlier. I think it was Cami said it. First thing me and Martin did, give each other a hug. You know what I mean? So it is a real opportunity, if you can make it, I think, to solidify it into real reality. It's lovely to chat, but when we met, Rox, you know what I mean? We'd hardly even spoken before we met, and it just makes it real. When you know the person, it's not
so true.
After
so
she
true.
got
Even at
over
Bedford
you
level,
being a
it was
gangster.
exactly the same there. There was so much going on at the Bedford level with observations and equipment and everything else. But you know, the absolute highlight for me was the meet up with everyone in the local pub. It felt like at least 20 or 30 people took over the pub inadvertently. And myself and Jason were sat there going, this is a better turnout than some meetups. Like the majority of people that were there never met before.
When was
Never.
that, Roxanne? The Bedford level thing?
That was on the 13th of April.
This year?
Yeah.
Damn, I'm behind. Can you fill us in on that and let us know what that was all about?
So, yeah, Dr. John's put out a video with some of the findings that we were dealing with mammoth amounts of refraction. Like in the daytime, it was a lot. But the refraction that we did observe was incredibly interesting because it, as again, didn't make sense given the claim that's been made as well. So we did have a really good evening on the Friday where we were able to see the laser at 6 miles the night before, which was on the Friday night. In fact, a few people were enjoying getting their eyes burnt with the laser because they could see it. They were that happy they could see it. They were like, no, let it burn me. It's going right in my eyes. It was like, okay, we've made the point. It's gone 6 miles. We can see it. Let's not do any like eye damage. And then the following day, what was interesting was that we could see things that were far, far further than the actual distance we were trying to observe, which was quite odd. We were sat down on the water in a dinghy, really low, like borderline at the water. And not only could we see past where we were trying to look with our naked eye, we could see way past that, the horizon line with the tree hedges that were possibly 12, 13, 14 kilometers away.
Interesting.
So we were like...
And did you have to clear the weeds or anything like that?
No. Dr. John went on quite an extensive recce with a few people and spoke to the agencies that regulate that waterway. And we got an optimum bit of water where no obstructions with the weeds. In fact, I've got a really good picture that I took from the dinghy that I was on, and I'll send you guys in a message, and you'll see, you can completely see.
Oh yeah, send us that. We'll put that up. Yeah. But no, that's really cool. I missed that completely. Things are just flashing by on my timeline.
We really did try to stream it. Me and Jason were both trying to get a signal for the entire time we were there. Most of us were on emergency calls only, which was quite a worry because even myself, I've got kids at home. So it was quite a worry being down there and no one could contact me because my phone was just no signal, which I thought was odd given that we were in the Norfolk Broads.
Yeah, weird. What about all those satellites?
Why would you not get signal in a flat area? I just thought there's something with that, isn't there? You know, everyone's going like that with their phones. And I'm going, it's Norfolk Broads. What are you all holding your phone? What is it that's obstructing the signal this time?
Power. power from the local mast.
But all in all, it was a good observation, and Dr. John is going to do a repeat of that in October, late October, and wants to know who's coming.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, so anyone listening who's interested, how do they get in touch with Dr. John?
They get in touch with him at Dr. John 1974, I think. But please just go over to Dr. John's channel and see, because I don't want to read off his email address wrong. But it's in most of the videos of how to get in contact with him. But just, email him, he'll get back to you. He wants to be as open and transparent, and he wants as many people to join in and get involved as possible. So
we'll try and put his email in the description of this episode, I think.
Great. And for anyone that's in the vicinity of London this weekend, I'm at Speaker's Corner, Hyde Park, London, from lunchtime onwards. I'll be there. Who else will be there? Ruben, Everybody Equals Mind Controlled Squares. Allegedly Dave Murphy will be there as well. And a good few other people. We're going to get out there and ask people if they're questioning what they're taught. If they're not, why? And if they are, what have they done?
Rob, can I ask you to just elaborate on that a little bit? What you're doing down there? Those not familiar with Speaker's Corner, what it is, and just how brave you guys are being, because it is a legendary debating place.
Yeah. So first time we went was the 24th of June last year. Loads of people went there. The list is endless, actually. There's a lot of content on John Smith Globli, Jason of the Disbury, Dave Marsh, myself, Ruben, Tom, Victoria. There's a lot of content out there for Speaker's Corner the first time that we did that. And yeah, it was basically going out there and telling people, this is the claim that's been made. Lots of people have looked into it. Here's how many holes have been poked in the claim that's been made. Should we even be able to discuss this for 5 minutes? And given that we are, what are your thoughts on this? And really, Harry's banner, Jason's banner, and my banner, put the banners down and just let people peruse through them like window shoppers. And then, like service agents at the side of the till waiting to help customers, they would get to the end of the banner and we would just go, what are your thoughts on that? Are you prepared to talk about it? There was no point in chasing people down and screaming at them that the earth's flat. But what most of us found is that once people had time to kind of read the banners and digest quite a bit of the information in the leaflets, they'd either walk away and come back an hour later and go, right, yeah, okay, so I've thought about this, and they'll take you aside and kind of question you about it. We realised pretty quickly that online trolls are real life, and those people do exist, and they will bring you aside and try and control the narrative and distract you from talking to people and engaging in people that are actually genuinely interested in what you're talking about. It was hard going throughout the summer because most of us went every single week throughout July, August, and the start of September. And then myself and Ruben and a few others said, look, that's not really doable. We need to probably knock it back into once a month. And then we came up with the last Sunday of each month, which we've carried on ever since. And I'm really pleased to say now that we've got to the point where we are having somewhat civilized discussions about things because people have realized that we're not going away. It's not going to stop. The conversation's not just going to pitter out into, some kind of damp squib. It's there to stay. The claim that's been made is absolute poppycock. There are major agencies getting millions of pounds to give us disinformation. So, how long's a piece of string as far as how long this conversation is going to go on until we have social acceptance? Because once we have social acceptance of questioning what we're taught, then we can have some kind of progress with it. But while people are being ridiculed for Owen Benjamin said it perfectly. People are getting ridiculed for just talking about it. People are getting put into a corner and being called nuts because they want to go against the grain of what the, fake authorities have told us. So that's where we are with it at the moment. We're going to carry on going every month until there seems to be a change. And that might take a lifetime. No one's expecting it to happen in 15 minutes. But as long as there's a place like Speaker's Corner and there's the amount of actually pointless conversations going on there, because they're based on things that when you look into the sources of them, not really based on fact, they're more belief conversations. And that's another thing that I think with the repetition of conversations that's gone on at Speaker's Corner, a lot of people say, I would really like to talk to you about the flat earth theory or your belief in the flat earth. And I'm like, right, both of those questions are crazy in the start, because it's not a belief and it's not a theory. There's no such thing as the flat earth theory as far as I'm concerned. I don't speak for anyone else, of course. But the next question I'm always asked is, why the lie? And then you realize, wow, even when we have the early stages of this conversation, there's so much work to be done in programmed responses from people. Harry really kind of hit the nail on the head with the programmed responses and why people say what they say, because they're not thinking for themselves.
Yeah, so many millions of people must be in on it, and all these agencies and everything. And what would they possibly be doing it for? They can't think of a single reason.
What would they benefit from lying to us about where we live?
I mean, 50 million a day is just, it's nothing, that's just chicken feed. But you must get so much of this stuff. I hats off to you. Huge respect. I couldn't do it. I'd end up.
I think, like I said, as long as there is a place like Speaker's Corner, human beings need to have the conversation there. Whether it's me, Tom, Dick, or Harry, the conversation can't stop there. It just, if there's a place like that, it's like if there's a race course, cars need to drive around it and race. Don't just leave it there with no cars racing around it. And it's like, if there's a Speaker's Corner, how can we not be part of that conversation that's going on there?
Absolutely.
It's insane.
And if you don't
it's one of the biggest lies ever told. And it's not going to be constantly spoken about. That's borderline heinous.
And if you don't use it, then you'll lose it. And things like Speaker's Corner.
And then the current victors write the current history books, and then our great-great-grandchildren will hear about a couple of Mad Hatters and Robin Hood and his merry band of men that thought the earth was flat. And that's not the case, is it? But that's how they write it in the history books. They'll just write it like, a few people were telling people the earth was flat, and they'd be really silly because Tesla put a car in space. And they all believed it. And we all know that at the time, not everyone believed that. Like we know with the moon landings, not everyone at the time bought that, but history will tell you different.
No, a lot of people don't know that, do they? That a third of Americans didn't believe the moon landings took place in a third of Americans in 1969. These days, you think everyone believed it, but and even these days, I think we've gone over the threshold of more people don't believe the moon landings than do believe the moon landings. It's a policy of mine now on Twitter that if you believe the moon landings, then I won't talk to you, because there's just literally no point. But that's probably wrong.
I reckon it'd be still 95% of people believe here, John. Most people that you talk to in Australia would think they happened for sure.
20 million people in Australia. That's there are some cities in the world that have more than 20 million people in them, Mexico City or Tokyo or whatever. It's easy to isolate Australia, and I think Australia is a prime example of an experimental zone. It was so far out of the way.
Piss off!
Before you go off track, my grandma, and I think this is probably more relevance to this. My grandma, all of her life, the moon landings were a load of nonsense. Because he analysed the photography and the like. Because
you're a bit quiet, Adam. Sorry, mate.
Because back then, when you say a third of Americans, because a third of Americans probably, or even more, didn't even remotely believe in the heliocentric paradigm that you could travel from one sphere whizzing around the universe to another. And I think that's why the figure's so big now. And I think that's it's a very different statistic when viewed, because the two purposes are the second one shows you that we still have critical thinking. However, 99% of us have been brainwashed from the 66% to believing into that heliocentric model. So still not a good statistic if you break it down from a.
My wife does care for the elderly, and she has 2 clients that don't believe in the moon landing, and they're not online. They just remember what they saw, and they didn't buy it.
Well, this is it. In '69, a television was rare, and people were a lot more switched on, and a lot of people in '69, could have been born around the turn of the century, 1900s. Considering flat Earth was not, or was sort of widely accepted by a lot of people right up until the invention of NASA, basically, then I can quite easily see that people in those days were way more skeptical than your millennials now that just get it absolutely hammered into them from birth, all through school, get ridiculed if they don't believe it, But I think a lot of them are actually waking up now, probably because their parents are awake. I think there's been a change in the tide, without a doubt. I think that, and the moon landings are, they're like a key in your brain that unlocks the door to so many other things. It was the last thing. It was the first thing I researched, but it was the last thing that made sense until I saw flat Earth, and then went, that's why they had to fake the moon landings, and everything just slotted into place like a Tetris screen. It was bizarre, but yeah, the moon landings are key.
I had a mate 30 years ago, John, at school that told us that the moon landings were all faked, and he was laughed out of the joint, and I was one of them.
Well, he's the guy you want to get back in touch with and become a mate of again, because all your current mates.
I think he's more of a nut job now than what he was years ago.
He could be onto something.
but his mum and dad got him into that.
Clearly ahead of the curve.
And I do see his dad around a little bit. I should ask him the question one day. Yeah,
I'll do it, mate, and get it on camera, will you? That'd be awesome. I had a geography teacher in middle school that said the Earth was flat. Imagine how much flack he got from me as well. Should look him up, actually.
How old are you?
Me?
How long ago was that you had a teacher that believed it?
That was in the 80s. Yeah.
That's fabulous. Again, I think a lot of people have always believed, and a lot of us, again, on this spinning ball, I think a lot of us, it opens your eyes up. A lot of us, if you critically thought about the globe and you couldn't reconcile it, you just told yourself you were too stupid to get it. So I think some of the mind control is the mind boggling it takes to turn it into a globe, and how stupid you feel when you try to figure it all out and really understand how it works, if you're drawn to wanting to understand how things work.
My father-in-law married a woman, a teacher, and she bought my kids globe, Why the Earth is a Globe books, and how animals evolved books, evolution books, and bloody all sorts of stuff, because she knew what I was into. So yeah, she bought it for Christmas, opened them up, and there was a globe Earth bloody book there, and why. And yeah, the kids were looking through it, and I threw it out eventually.
You should buy a couple of Eric DeBay's kids' book. Send them back to her.
As you know, I don't talk to them anymore. So, but yeah, for different reasons. But I couldn't believe it. I was going through the book, and I think it was a couple of years ago. I remember I took a.
I remember you telling me.
I was showing you some of the things that was being said in this book is just absolutely ridiculous. Yep, went on to the moon landings, and but that's what and she's a teacher. That's what she was doing. She didn't ask me why I believed the Earth was flat. She just
Well, my kids are bringing home, Extraordinary Earth and everything, books from the library, and they're sitting there and they're just laughing at it. I think it's brilliant. I'll openly encourage them to. I've told them, we have quizzes around dinner. How far away is the sun? How big's the moon? All this sort of stuff. I want them to know their ball model inside out. And it's got to a point, where they get these books. They can read the books and read about forest fires and deforestation and this sort of stuff, and that's not funny. But when it comes to space, they're just laughing their heads off.
Going to be interesting in the upcoming years how, with a number of people looking into this again, the teachers, they're teachers because they were curious and they wanted to help the young. And that I think that some of them might be some of our strongest allies as you go forward, as they, if they start satisfying their curiosity and getting there. Again, these are natural teachers. There's a reason they teach, and they teach their own baselines that they've been taught. So it's going to be interesting to see how the cycle breaks, because I feel it breaking. I really do feel it breaking. I feel it moving forward. Feel a lot of magical things happening, or things that feel magical. I
think, Cami, we've got boys. Your lad's a little older than mine, a year or two. But in terms of similar thing, I don't, and I assume you're the same. There's no point sending them in there like flat earth warriors to disrupt the education system. My kids are aware, like John's on. There's no point getting overly involved. But I think the trouble is kids are kids, and there comes a point where there isn't just one or two of our kids whose dads are flat earthers and know what they're on about. The kids are getting savvy to it, and the kids themselves will start to challenge the system. And as oldies don't need to worry about that. I think that
I'm with you 100% on that one, Adam. My daughter's, for me, is living proof of that.
You're a couple of more years on.
I don't think we've got anything to worry about with the next generation, because they're already questioning it. And I know I said it earlier on this evening, but I'll say it again. My daughter thanks certain international puppets for waking them up to the fact that mainstream media is not putting out the truth.
Yeah, and I think at this point, I'd love to put a shout out to Crrow777 and Jason Lindgren. They put out a podcast. It was number 151.5. So it didn't go out over YouTube or anything. I think I'd love him to rethink that actually and put it out. But it was, there's a Malaysian school where the teacher of the school is a keen Crrow777 radio.com fan. And he's been playing it to his students in the class, and they've been loving it and going through his episodes and stuff. And they actually had a hangout where he was doing a Q&A with the students in the class, and I thought it was just fantastic. Some of the questions they were asking were just awesome. Really, they just showed what he calls a higher mind, and his answers as well were fantastic on that. So anyone who's got membership to Crrow777radio.com, then have a look at that or listen to that podcast, because it's brilliant. And I'm currently playing that in segments to my kids over the last few days, because it covers all sorts: violent video games, propaganda, the news, cosmos, all sorts of fantastic topics that only kids can come up with. It's really good. So shout out to Crow and Jason there.
Real quick, while we're talking about Crow and Jason, there's going to be another premiere, another showing of the Shoot the Moon movie at LSU on Wednesday, the 8th of May. I'll have to get the time. Sorry, it's gone, but it won't be.
What is LSU? I'm sure everyone.
Louisiana State University.
Louisiana, cool.
Yes, sir. And it's on Twitter, the actual details, but that reminded me of it. And I'm trying to get up with Jason and Crow to get a little, like once they have a few of these premieres and get them on to kind of get a little feedback. He said there were like, I don't remember exactly, like 30 or so people at the one he did in New Orleans last weekend. And
I didn't even know that was happening. So the coverage on that couldn't have been too great. But
well, it was picked, like the venue was picked to be on Sunday of Easter here. So it kind of made it difficult for anybody that wasn't immediately right there in New Orleans to even attempt to attend. That was my issue. I was still hiding Easter eggs at 6, and the premieres at 6:45, and I'm 3 hours away. So grandchildren had me that day. That's what was going on.
With the grandkids, did they find them all?
Oh yeah, they always do. They always do. So it was fun. We had a blast. Lots of sunburn, lots of kite flying. We had a blast. So, and I hope to make it to the one coming up. So if I don't, he said he's going to be popping it up as often as he can, and he'll bring it to you. Jason said, get in touch with him at the link is actually in our description, I believe, and if it's not, I'll put it there.
Excellent.
I know
Kids are
that
like bloodhounds with chocolate. Sorry, Cami.
Yeah. I know that that they are in Denver. We're interested in having it brought here, and there's talks about having it at the Goosetown Tavern, the place that we had the after party at the conference and everybody sang out. The manager there is a flat earther, and it's a wonderful venue downtown Denver. And so I know that we're talking about doing the Crow showing there, and I can't wait to see it on the big screen. I loved it on the TV, but can you imagine it on a big screen? That's really the way it needs to be shown. I'm going to join in as a mom, I'm going to join in on the kids that say, the ones that worry about our children. Our children are so much brighter than we are. Go out and actually talk to the kids. Don't sit in judgment over, watch how they dress or that, but actually listen to how their minds work. I know a lot of the artists I follow are very young artists, that their talent and how they have it so young. It's like they're born with it. It's like we feel like we had to work with it, and these kids on their talent. It's amazing. It's already there. I know that with my son, he doesn't really care, which is not, I don't think, untypical for a 15-year-old boy. He cares about gaming. He cares about codes. He worries about schoolwork and getting it right. He knows on asking questions or in doing things at school that he should answer for the tests the way they are, that like in the book, in their talent and how they have it. So how well do you repeat information back? He handles it like he's repeating information back. It's kind of like a memory test. And I think it's for them to sit back and decide what they believe and to expose them to different things. We don't really push. It'd be strange for you guys to think we don't overly push flat earth at all with our son, because he has his teenage life going on too. And we haven't ever pushed him and said, are you a flat earther or are you a round earther? Where do you, we do know that he's aware of all the facts. He can't be in this house and not hear, coming at him in all directions and knowing what we think. But again, I think the key is getting the information out there. And if the right information is out there, people have minds and need to use them.
Yeah.
It's not up for us to tell them what it is. It's up for people to figure out.
For them to find it for themselves. Well said.
The trouble is, Cami, at this age, it's like uncool to know stuff. Do you know what I mean? Certainly for mine, it's not cool to be chatting about this sort of stuff. But as you say, kids are sponges and they can't be around it. And mine will give me little sparks, little winks and nudges, but it's not something that they, Dad, tell me about flat earth. They hear enough about it.
Right.
I think the key, or one of the major keys is to promote, I don't know if this is the right word, didacticism, where you give them the tools to be able to conduct research themselves so that they can spot nonsense from NASA or whatever, finding the key words like it's believed or scientists say or all this sort of stuff.
I was going to say, John, key. Roxanne's the kind of good example, because saying her kid's a couple of years older. Well, she's kind of been exposed and has picked it up straight away, as far as I'm aware, and it is more matter of fact not because she was trained by a flat earther, but because she's been brought up to be intelligent and to criticize the world she's in, and that's despite the education
I'm
system.
pretty much exactly where Cami's at with that as well. I mean, all I've done is be a mum first and foremost, but she, like you, Adam, she doesn't have to go very far around the house to clock what I do with my spare time. With that being said, even my daughter, like you, Cami, she's got her own, like, she's literally weeks away, even weeks away. She starts her GCSE. She does her Spanish GCSE. I think it's tomorrow. No, today. Today's Friday, right? Today she did her Spanish GCSE. Yeah. So this week she started her GCSEs. She finishes them June 17th. She's been acutely aware, whatever the word is, since probably this time last year. But even just the other day when I was speaking to her, she said, I'm not a flat earther. She had a bit of a kerfuffle at school, and I will quote her. She'll be a bit cheesed off if I say any names, but she had a bit of a back and forth with one of her mates, and he didn't agree with what she was talking about. Now, they weren't talking about any red pill stuff. They were just talking about something to do with prom. And he went, yeah, says the girl who thinks the earth's flat. And that just tricked. She was just like, wow, you're actually my... And it was just because he was wrong about something else and he brought this up. And it's not even something that he disagrees with her about. And she was like, wow, Mum, he said it in a way where he's just written me off in front of people as a flat earther, ridiculed me. And she held her own with it. But she hasn't ever said she's a flat earther to anybody. She won't even say it to me because she doesn't feel that she can subscribe to something that she wants to believe in, like me.
That's what I was meaning.
She come to that conclusion by herself. She hasn't been force-fed it, like you said, Adam. She's just been given the tools to go and critically think for herself. When Harry came down to London, she spent a lot of time down here with us talking about various different things, and she wanted to ask questions, not predominantly flat earth questions that go around everything else she's being taught. And, you know, when other people have come here, Dave, you know, various other people that have come down to London, she's a little bit like the Spanish Inquisition. She likes to ask she maybe gets case studies of her own on things with that. But like you said, kids really absorb a lot. And like your kids, Cami, and your kids, Adam, she's going through the indoctrination system and she understands. It's only really, I feel, that when the kids are slightly awake to things, they understand what school is. It's no different from Monopoly. They've just got to keep going through each one, get the tickets for the next one, and go through until they get patted well on the back and go, yep, you memorized everything. Well done. You're fully indoctrinated. There's a certificate. And Adam, you probably know what the grading system is in England. Jessica's all on 9s and 8s, so she's not academically struggling at all, despite being awake. And I feel like you can maybe analogize it to driving. Like when you say to your kids, school's not trying to teach you life, they're just trying to teach you to memorize the tests they want you to take. Just like the driving instructor, he's not really teaching you how to drive, he's just teaching you how to pass the test. That's all.
So true.
Yeah, it's exactly right. I think the greatest gift we can give our children is not like that the earth is flat or tell them different things. It's just how to stop and think about what you're learning, think about what you're doing, pay attention, stop, pay attention. And on the pay attention, know that like on a lot of things that you have to do, it's just a matter of memorizing what people want and what you just spew back. But it doesn't mean you have to believe it. In other words, you should stop and analyze each one of these thoughts carefully, the trivium or the different things you're looking at. It's like the method of thinking. If we can impose that, it's not really up to me to tell my son. I think that's where we've gotten into so much trouble is giving things as answers where we don't know, because if we don't know, we fill things in and present it as fact, and that's got us in a lot of trouble in the past.
Even me too. That's where I'm at with my name. That's why I'm a globe denier, not a flat earther. one and the same thing. They're just said differently and different even at Speaker's Corner, when I enter a conversation as a flat earther, there's a type of mentality attached to the conversation. If I come into the conversation as a globe denier, it creates a whole different effect.
And I come into it as a flat earther, this not lightly, but with hours and hours and hours of challenging and things that I have problems with saying, are there possible solutions to this? Am I crazy? Am I trying to, just get attention, or, is it a psychological thing, or is it real? And the more I look and the more I step back, it's very, very real. And for me, I am a flat earther because I see so many pieces of the flat earth and I can't resolve the globe at all. I can't reconcile or resolve the globe. And I've seen enough evidence. I've seen a preponderance of evidence for it being flat, but it's a personal journey that I've gone through, and I've looked at a lot more. I think a lot of people have looked at so many proofs on why the world is not a globe. Whereas when
I say like you, I've seen an abundance of proof to say it's not a globe.
So you've
I don't
said
know
that.
what it is, but I know it's not what we've been taught, right?
Right. And then I don't know, I've gone in my own little world and I've studied so many little books and so many things that I'm comfortable saying there's this flat because of the journey I've gone through. I can't say, I don't think you should probably be ready to say that until you've gone through a journey that's really in your heart, you believe it, like with all your passion, or with, again, it's not something we said lightly, and it's certainly not a decision like you press on a teenager that they have to make a choice or anything like that. It should be about finding the truth.
I'm with you, Cami. Absolutely, all the way.
Well said.
I'm a flat earther because, for me, I can prove it to myself. Not just flat, but stationary as well. And I'm more than happy to be shown a different way. And I'm looking forward to my kids telling me what the reality actually is, when they're 30 or 40 or whatever, because I'll still listen to them.
I know that we're on a plane, but I.
Left us in suspense.
Nope, that's all. Good enough.
Water will lay, perpendicular to the electric field. So whatever shape the electric field is, then I don't know. I can't say it's flat yet. We'll see. Optically, it is. Optically, it is flat. But I don't know. There may be a little, something in the middle. I don't know.
I think the things that we've looked at, like the gravitational hills and things like that have your gravitational anomalies, Zach, I honestly believe that there could be areas of gravitational anomalies that you're going to read up and down at a slightly different axis because of the anomalies. So when I say perfectly flat, just like we have hills and valleys in a height model that doesn't make it flat, I'll also say that with it, I not only allow for, but I see a lot of things pointing to small areas of instability, and where you're going to read on the electric field that it's going to be at a slightly different axis. And again, I've done a lot of reading to get to that. So it's a weird concept for a lot of people, but with what you're saying that you don't, everything, nothing is ever like perfect or absolute. There's always, life doesn't work that way. There's peaks and valleys.
It's flat.
It's flat. Yes. I think it's flat. I do think it's flat, though. Actually,
it's not just the water finding its level, though. It's the seeing too far as well. It's, if the water was bending, then we wouldn't be able to see that far.
Well, what if it's bending at like a quarter inch every 10 miles? You wouldn't be able to see that optically. That's just what I'm saying. I'm not. No,
that's a good Zach. Or what if it looked like as shallow, like a contact lens, and had like just this, either in either direction? What if there was with the energy field that, again, you're up and down, there could be slight bends in it. I don't typically think it's that homogeneous of and again, there's always room for learning on it. But again, Zach, what if it had a very slight, you can't rule it out. I think that there's definitely places on this earth that you can measurably take things off axis. I just don't see it as a homogeneous. I don't see it as a homogeneous concavity or that. But I do think
any sort of change, and the water would run the other way.
But you have a little bit of areas that do that. Yeah.
You would not.
Occam's razor tells me it's flat.
Right.
Yes.
I understand what you're saying, Zach. I understand, and I've seen the video with electronics and stuff. I think for me, it's just the simplest solution. The simplest answer is probably the correct answer, and
right. That's again why I lean to the flat.
I'm just not saying 100% that it is. That's all I'm saying.
And you got to put in gyroscopes there too. If there was any sort of movement, the gyroscope would pick it up.
I think the electric field, if we could measure that, the electric potential in the air, like everywhere, like at the same time somehow, I don't know. It's not possible, really.
It might be.
Yeah, it might be. If we had a whole worldwide, once we get everybody on board and everybody knows.
Could we at least try and reach for like a continuous piece of footage from ground to over 50 kilometers in altitude, unedited, unbroken, real world imaging?
I think
Do we not have that? Do we not have that from a balloon?
With a 4K 360.
Unedited. Nope. Not with a 360 camera, no.
In 4K, negative.
No, nada. But Space VR got the funding. Space VR had a Kickstarter funder and got themselves about £800,000 or dollars. Then came in a massive benefactor and gave them $1 million. So they had over $1 million, and they had everything ready. And they've not been given clearance to get off the ground in any given governed country on this flat plane of existence. Imagine having all that money, all the equipment ready to go, and no one's giving you permission to do it.
They should do it from Lieberland. Have you heard of Lieberland?
Get in touch with them. Their name's Space VR. Maybe do a petition, like help them out. Like it's still not off the ground. That makes me think that the space agencies have already got that imaging, and we're never going to see that, are we? We're never going to see.
Can they not launch in VR? Isn't that what? Is that what the VR stands for? Virtual reality.
They want to get the real world imaging so that one can maneuver within real world imaging from ground.
First you have to record it, then you can load it into a VR program.
Correct. And so instead of using CGI and fake imaging, it's real.
Unless you're NASA.
Yeah. And you would think, though, that would just be the case, and that would just be par for the course, and it would get, given permission to, but it doesn't matter where they've gone, they're not getting a yes.
Should have been done years ago, really.
Obviously, yeah.
I think that could be telling on two reasons there, John.
Mm-hmm.
The one that worries me the most, I mean, obviously there's the thought that if they do actually get these pictures, now it's something Stan Smith wanted to, but it doesn't align with all the other optical get that high. And the second point is, are they doing, trying to build a CGI copy in case they burn it down like Notre Dame? Because I see that there's, I just wanted to do a quick I forgot my train of thought. I'll come back to it on that. But
guys, before Adam does, do you mind if I say been a pleasure to be on again, but I'm gracefully bow out now, if that's okay.
No, that's brilliant, Robin. Thanks very much for turning up.
Typically
in IRM style, we have gone completely off the script, which is absolutely cool because I'm loving it, but we haven't touched on anything we were meant to. But I think this has sort of turned into a sort of parents and interesting topic.
It was a purposeful mind fart, John.
But no, cheers, Robin. Thanks for coming in.
Very
Thanks.
welcome. It's been a pleasure being with you.
Thank you, man.
Lovely
Thank
to
you
meet
so
you.
much.
Lovely to meet you.
Big love, Robin. Big love, Robin. www.feconvention.com, www.globeli.co.uk. Check
Indeed.
them out.
Yeah. Speak to you soon, Roxanne. And
Take care.
speak to you again, Cami.
Oh, Robin. Yeah, it was so nice to meet you.
And
And I look forward to talking again soon.
very soon, I hope. God bless.
Mhm.
See you soon.
Bye, Robin.
Take care, guys.
Bye,
See you,
darling.
See you soon.
Bye-bye. No, I don't know if this is okay or not, but this is Iron Realm, so I think everything is okay.
There you go. Nailed it.
I'm beginning to feel at home and feel myself here. If at all possible, I would like to, because again, I was fighting a little bit of headache. I was going to take like 5 minutes, have a cigarette, and we'll just be honest, and there, just reset myself. And then maybe when we come back, we can talk about the map.
Yes, absolutely.
Does that work for everybody?
Absolutely.
So if I
Yeah.
take just like a 5 or 10 minute, let my puppy go to the restroom and get a bit of sunshine before it goes down, and then I'll be back in 5 minutes and we can map talk.
Take as much time as you need. We will be here. You get yourself comfy. We want to make sure you get your head taken care of one way or the other.
All right, you guys, I'll be back in just a few minutes and
All right.
we can hit it.
Sounds good.
All right.
Well, while we're taking another step off the trodden path or whatever we had planned for the show, I had a couple of things I wanted to mention. I watched 5G Apocalypse this week. Anyone seen that?
Yeah.
I saw that it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't watched it yet, but I saw that it was there.
Any thoughts on that?
It's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, well, specifically the film though, or the movie. I thought it was a fantastic movie. I thought it was really movie, film, documentary, whatever it's called. Had some brilliant information in there, but unfortunately, they stuck like 10 seconds of David Icke in the middle of it, which I just thought was completely unnecessary. Now, I'm not anti-David Icke. I've got his books and everything around it, but
What do you think if someone sees him on there, they dismiss whatever's being said straight away?
Yeah, I think unfortunately, and no offense to David Icke, but unfortunately, he and his name and his face have been weaponized now, and there was really no need to put David Icke in there for 10 seconds just to say that 5G is really bad for you. All the rest, the whole documentary covered all of that, but I just really thought that ruined it in terms of anyone who you're trying to turn on to 5G, which is proven technology. This is not good stuff. They take one look and see David Icke on there and just go, yeah, but that's got Icke on it. I mean, I've seen it anyway, this reaction to it. And it's just sometimes some people just need to sort of back away and say, no, that's, you're doing a good enough job. You don't need my face on there. I think it would have been 100 times more impactful if it didn't have David on there. No offense to David at all, but yeah, I don't know what you guys think.
Savage!
Was a bit, wasn't it? Anyway, moving on, as no one's got anything to say on that front.
I haven't watched it, but I do agree with what you're saying about the David Icke thing. It definitely has had its taste applied to it for us all, or for them, or whatever, and it definitely was not necessary in a 5G thing, I don't think. But I haven't watched it, so I can't really comment on it.
I'd go back to what Roxanne said about, I think it was you, Roxanne, about your daughter having respect for certain people that maybe other people wouldn't necessarily hold high. That goes to other people's views on like Alex Jones and that. And I think there's nothing wrong with, I've not seen the thing, John, but I think part of getting a little bit past and awakening properly is realizing that these are just people, and recognizing actually how they help you on your spiritual journey and saying goodbye to them as well. And that's all I'd probably say on that. I don't necessarily think he's a bad thing. He was part of my awakening, as was Alex Jones, and
mine as well.
I
Alex
even like
Jones,
a bit of Trump.
but David
I
Icke.
like the bit of the Donald. It's funny in their system. Is the only thing.
No, I agree. He was part of my awakening. Still is. You know, I still watch the guy. I'm just saying, it would have been the same as if you had Alex Jones with his bullhorn running through the middle of the documentary saying 5G is going to murder you all. You're going to fry in your bed. It's just entirely unnecessary, especially on the subject of 5G, because it's not up for debate anymore. That there is an issue with 5G, and it was a shame.
Agreed.
Pregnant.
All right, screw that. Moving on. Here's one for
It's a conspiracy, John. We've all decided that we're just going to wait till after you talk, and we're all going to be.
We all give it a 10-second beat, and then we start talking, right?
Oh, that's a good job. I've got a crib sheet here. Tylenol is one. Pro.
Well, before you run down your crib
Quiet
sheet,
in class,
give a quick
please.
shout out to Mike D in chat, who's going to head to bed. Mike is a fan of ours over there on Ironworks in the mornings, and he's been working a 60-hour week. So after a 6-pack, he's ready for bed. So thanks for hanging out with us again this evening, Mike. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you hanging out early and late, brother. We appreciate it. And I saw Liz. I didn't even know Liz was there. Hello, Liz.
Our very own Iron Maiden. We love you, Liz. Always a pleasure to have you, man.
Yeah, I've got to give a shout out to Liz. I said earlier, I've missed chatting with her in the TFR chat, because with holidays and getting back to work, I've not had a chance to sit down and say hello. So hi, Liz.
Brilliant.
You're missing our chat too.
Zach. Brilliant phase. A shout out to all the Iron Maidens out there.
Absolutely. Well, it's just good to see the TFR early risers making it over here. So we have a crossover. It's nice to see it. So, and you guys come over and hang out with us in the morning.
For real, John?
Yeah, it's only like 4 or 5 in the morning. Come on.
All right, so no one wants to know
Like
about
10 a.m. for him. I'm
Yeah, it's
sure.
10 in the morning. Zach,
For John, I'm just
over
saying.
here.
Just saying.
No hardship. Although it's
All right,
it's a minor stretch for Savage, isn't it? It's
There's something
10's
else
quite
there.
early for you.
Well, to be fair, yeah, 10 in the morning is probably the equivalent of most people's 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah, it's not convenient at all. Can I talk about Tylenol?
Hold up, just a second. So it's equivalent to the same time that Walt and Josh are up. Okay.
Yeah.
So all you need is coffee like them.
Don't drink coffee.
Kratom. It'll help you pain, make you feel better.
I like my sleep.
One half an hour before the show. Let the
I get
haziness
9 hours
go,
sleep.
and then you'll be fine.
Sorry, we didn't want you over there anyway. I mean, the people in chat want you over there, but Walt and Zach, whatever. John comes, John goes. It's whatever. John does what John does.
John who?
Exactly. John who?
We're always giving shout outs to Savage.
Savage!
Yeah.
See, I'm just like one of the groupie listeners. I really want Savage on, but I know the cool kids aren't like bothered. Doesn't matter. What the hell?
Oh my goodness.
All right, you finished?
For now.
Just about.
No one wants to hear me at 10 o'clock in the morning. Believe me.
Oh, come on, John. You think we want to listen to you talk about Tylenol?
Clearly not. So I'm not going to bother. Does anyone know what smart in your smartphone stands for?
Go for it.
Or are you looking for the
sheet?
You want us to tell you, or
Secret military armaments in residential technology?
That's perfect. That's perfect. I got a little text or message saying that they track all of your Google knows where you are at all times. They know everything on there. If you want to erase any of this stuff, go in and it tells you how to delete it. And to me, that would just be a way of saying, oh, these people are deleting it. Let's pay attention. What were they doing?
You got it.
John, what's your source on that?
No idea. Hold on.
Thanks.
Apocalypse.
That's how we research around here.
5G Apocalypse.
Perfect.
The movie. Can we put a link to that in the description? It's an hour and 17 minutes. I think I'll get you a link.
You give it to somebody here who will put it in a description, and one of us will put it in the description. Eventually.
Even if it's not accurate, I mean, it's brilliant. It says exactly what it is, even if that's not, with the smartphone, it's so accurate.
That is accurate.
Accurate in what's going on in this world. So I think it's good to look at and at least investigate. I came back.
You did come back.
I did come back. It felt so good just to unhook from the computer, even for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and touch sunshine and ground and things like that. I am not meant to be attached to a computer in a little chair for any length of time.
Friday drains me as well. We start the morning doing it and we end the night doing it. Oh, and then tonight I'll be doing it one extra time because I'm going to be over there on Monster Castle Paranormal with Wolfman Mike. Link is in the chat. It'll be at like midnight Pacific. Yeah, midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific.
Ooh.
What time's that over here?
I don't know. It'll be probably way weird times for you. At least like 6 hours from now. Yeah, around 6 hours from now, or 5.5, something like that.
Don't know how you guys do it staying in a chair. It's hard.
It is. It takes
I do a lot of jogging and walking when I'm not in this chair. I'm out and about in the ground with bare feet, recovering. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I compulsively avoid this chair in this whole area at all times except during showtime, which sucks because there's a lot of stuff I need to do.
I know, that's exactly what I was going to say. That's why we missed so much in the Skype chat, like last Monday and last Sunday and all that was going on. And me and Josh were just oblivious to it because we're decompressing at that point, completely out of this crowd, not wanting to be here. So
I go into
out in the real world.
Yeah, you go into decompression and then you go into where you just can't stop chatting and talking about things. And that's, you have to have the cycles, one without the other. It's when people try to stay on at all times, you can't keep doing that all the time. You have to stop and remember why you're doing it.
We actually had a rare occasion this evening when several IRM and Twitter, we were going at, we were fighting trolls.
It was great. I woke up to that, John. It was so great to see you all out there doing that.
It was quite amusing, and it's not something I've done for quite a while. And same with Rob and you, Josh, and I thought it was brilliant.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm so ignorant when it comes to Twitter. I still don't know. I have no clue what you guys are talking about. I probably have access to it, but I use the chat in Twitter with you guys. That's all I do on Twitter usually.
You're not really missing much other than the high blood pressure.
You took the words out of my
I don't know that either. I follow very little. I know that they put out little things and you get little, like I'll say when Jeranism releases something, but there's so much to keep on track of in social media. And if it's between magnets or social media, the magnets usually.
No, but just what you were saying about, sometimes you need to shy away from this sort of stuff or get away from the PC and take time out or read a book or listen to podcasts or, there's so much going on the vanguard, on the cutting edge of flat earth. You don't want to miss anything, but it's important to step away every now and again. I'll disappear for days on end sometimes, but it was just a very rare occasion this evening that we just got swamped by trolls and basically the whole IRM crew just came in and started pummeling these people, but it was fantastic. Yeah, it was good fun.
That's sometimes really good therapy if you're whack a troll. If you just have energy that you don't know what to do with, that's not good energy. It's a good place to put it, Better than taking it out on your kid or your husband. So
exactly. Perfect.
Everything's got its place. It's kind of fun.
And if you need something to do to get rid of the energy, build a garden. I'm telling you, folks, it is so fulfilling of a task. It's a lot of hard work, but it's, man, I love it. I don't consider it work. It's one of my passions. I'm trying to share it with people, and it's just, I don't know. Go out there and plant something and watch it grow.
Watch it
Take care.
grow. That's,
Yeah, it's an amazing journey.
again, that's why we're doing it. And so it's the journey that watching it grow in all aspects. So I think you're right on, Zach, and something that everybody needs to do more of is unplug and get, and again, remember why. Just remember why. You guys about ready to be nerdy? Yeah.
Yeah, let's get down and nerdy.
I'm ready.
But, okay, I don't know where to start, but I'm staring at the screen that's got the Flammarions on it. Do you guys have the show chat on Skype up? Who's presenting?
Right now, I don't think anybody's presenting except whoever's talking.
You present what you want to present, Cami. Unless it's video and that, just send it to Josh.
Okay.
He'll stick it up. But if it's just pictures, if you just present your screen, as
So
you
present
have
my
done,
screen.
it'll be fine.
Hold on 1 second. I can tell already that's going to be a, what did I just do with it?
This is I love this is what
I had ready
the
to
Wednesday
go.
pre-show is all about, is getting over these, ironing out these little problems and everything. So you can tell we had a Wednesday pre-show and just did absolutely sod all about the practicalities.
Again, like today's show, we got off on just everything else. So, but that's great. That means we're family.
Exactly. So if I wanted to, I'm looking at my things there. I wanted to share. We'll
So
start
you're going to
this.
share screen, which shows
All
us.
right.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So right now we were talking, first of all, when, like, before I even start and go there on the Flammarion, we're working together right now and piecing together a model, or I am. It's pieces and parts. This is Flat Earth Advanced. It's not proof. It's not anything but possibilities. But if you don't look at the possibilities, you can't get to the truth. And so what we're doing is we're taking a lot of possibilities and we're throwing them out there. And to me, I see them as puzzle pieces. I've already thrown out a lot of puzzle pieces. And so the ones I'm showing you are like some of the, what I would call my favorite puzzle pieces, and how they're seemingly fitting in the puzzle really good enough to share with people. And again, get a little bit of feedback on what direction to go from here and how to, finish up the model on it, or again, maybe get to where we can say this is in the right direction or this is truth.
Yeah.
So again, it's a possibility at this point, but thank you for letting me share it.
You have a captive audience, Cami, all yours.
All right. We were looking last week at the Flammarion, so I think that's a fun place to start. And I did read a little bit about it between last week and this week, because the funny thing is why I look at the pictures, a lot of the times they're like, who made it or where did it come from, and the different things. It's the Flammarion engraving, and it was an engraving done, so an actual engraving. So I'm thinking like a stamp is how you would print it out, and I could be wrong on this. And it was not made by Camille Flammarion. He found it, and I don't think they really know the true origin of it. They have different people have got different ideas on it, but I don't know if anybody really knows.
Oh wow! So, hold on, backtrack on that. So it's an engraving. It's not done by Flammarion.
Right.
He found it. Do we know the age of it?
Well, let's go back to, because those were words and that's not what I'm going to remember well. So why don't I bring on my screen? Because again, I read it, but I'm repeating it back. Let's get it right for you.
Yeah, no, that's just really interesting. Just
so
what you said.
Let's look at it. Why don't we all look at it together and start? Because that will lead us into where we're going really well. So the Flammarion engraving is a wood engraving by an unknown artist, so named because the first documented appearance is in Camille Flammarion's 1888 book. I'm going to need glasses, people.
1888. Okay, so that's not
Okay.
that long ago, is it?
Well,
Jack
that's
the Ripper days.
that's the first time anybody remembers seeing it, or that's the first place it showed up. It's its first documented appearance, but they have no idea where it came from.
The implication there is
the atmosphere.
That it's not a print, it's engraving. So something that's
Correct.
probably curved into one of the old wooden churches, and it's a print from that engraving. If you're looking for previous antiquity to the 1888 date.
Let's make this big, you guys. I'm showing this on the screen, right? Does anybody want to read it instead of me, or keep going? Its first documented appearances in Camille Flammarion's 1888 book, La Atmosphère Meteorologie Populaire, the Atmosphere Popular Meteorology. The engraving has often, but erroneously, been referred to as a woodcut, so it's not a woodcut. It has been used as a metaphoric illustration of either the scientific or the mystical quest for knowledge.
What the hell's a woodcut?
So the alternative
would
then
be
is,
when they
is it
cut
metal?
it out of wood.
If it's not wood, then
It's and again, your questions are my questions.
is it a Mormon?
Well, I know in art there are different media that over the years have been used to make prints. I mean, literally so many different things. Clay, form, tablet things, almost like stampers we use today, made out of different like vegetables. I mean, there's so many ways engravings have been done over the year. I did a few different kinds in art during college with like this weird like clay stuff in like mats that you just think about. You get your image, you think reverse, and carve out the opposite, which is basically what you have to do to make it work. And it's really complicated. And to make something look like this is phenomenal in any type of engraving.
So it is not a woodcut, but it is a wood engraving.
Is it
It doesn't say wood anywhere. It does not say wood. It says it's an engraving. Oh,
Well,
is a
it
wood
says-
engraving? Is a wood
well,
engraving? You're right. Okay, well, let's go to wood engraving. Is a printing technique.
Functionally, a variety of woodcut.
Right. So,
So
they say it's not woodcut, but it is.
it is.
Good old Wikipedia. We love it. Oh, yeah, it's cracking. First bleeding paragraph, and it's already got us in a tailspin.
Well, no, okay. The difference looks like is maybe it's done by the intaglio method, where the ink fills the valleys, the removed areas. Is, in other words, it looks like it's a reverse of a woodcut.
It is definitely. It's exactly what I was talking about. The
mirror
difference
image
between
of a
in
woodcut.
reverse. You don't have to apparently think in reverse this way. So that's
So this one you even have to, not only do you have to mirror the image, but you have to mirror the heights and everything. Everything seems to be reversed on it. So it's a mirror image of a woodcut. And you have to, in order to do it, you have to work in mirror imaging. It's really fascinating.
Huh. I wonder if there's a group of people that likes to think in reverses.
Right. So
Good
one
point.
one of the first things that makes you know about this is the colorization is not part of the engraving at all. That was added at a later date by different artists. And so like we were looking at the symbology of these being dahlias, for instance, and when I looked up red dahlias, and red dahlias are the symbol of deceit, which I found really interesting.
Venetian.
Interesting.
So I think it's interesting that after the fact, this one it says in the bottom that it's colored by Olin Rainbow or somebody like that will list who colored this particular rendition. But when looking at the different symbologies, we're going to bring it up in black and white. If you look at the two red flowers in the bottom and how they're colored red around the edges and the green, and Karen picked that up as a dahlia. In the black and white, those don't look any different to me. Really, you guys can look at them closer than the two flowers at the very left of the
absolutely. I
dome.
thought the same thing in the black and white, Cami, that it really isn't that flower, or if it is,
That flower I think is made, looking at it closer, I think it might be made by deception, making it look like a red dahlia of deception. But that was never put into
dahlia.
I don't know if it's the dahlia. Look at it in the bottom left-hand corner too. It's painted, it's colored in like it's a dahlia.
That's what we looked up last week, isn't it?
I've
So I'm
seen
gonna
older
bring it.
versions where that is just colored solid green. I've seen other versions where that is colored a solid off brown. It's just depending on the artist who colored it, really.
I was
So
going
we're
to
gonna
say
take the color away.
It's relative, because if it's an engraving, then there isn't a color other than the substance it
Right.
was engraved into. The only thing I would say is what Cami just said. Did you say it relates to the sea? And if you look at some of the mudflood stuff
deceit.
that Martin's talking about,
Deceit, didn't you say, Cami?
I said, yeah, deceit, dishonesty.
deceit.
Dahlia means deceit, which means nasa in Hebrew.
It means
Just
it's
saying.
the red dahlia only. The red, when you went into, we'll do this again, when you look up here, because I was looking at it first, and this is like part of the game getting through. The first time I was looking at it is a red dahlia, because they're red in the picture. And so red dahlia symbolism is going to get you to, on this one it does strength, love, and passion, but when you're getting into the meeting and a lot of the things, it's going to I think maybe even symbology is going to get.
I saw it like 3 or 4 down, Cammy. Go back.
It was there in the Wikipedia. Right there.
Plant symbolism right there, the very last thing, betrayal and dishonesty.
So the red dahlia, only the red dahlia, none of the other dahlias, but only the red dahlia, in like right at the top where it's strength and power, that's more of a current meaning to it. But in past histories, it was more marked betrayal and dishonesty, deceit, trying to fool.
I would say that, Cami, if you flick back to the image, that there are 2 very distinct leaves in that flower. If it is a flower or a shrub, there are 2. Yeah, there are 2 very distinct. There's a back bush and a front petal. So I don't know if we can nail that down. If there's but this is what we need.
Dahlia. I don't know flowers, and so
I don't know, because that picture of the dahlia that you just showed,
I'm here.
It all had the same
and then these
size leaves.
Yeah, we can say they do look different. They were closer to being a symmetrical flower instead of the petals in the middle with the green leaves around, which is sort of have a black and white look. So it's petals and leaves, as opposed to the other one, which is like all leaves with green in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. So
remember, no color actually exists on what the engraving is. All the colors put in afterwards. Here are dahlias. And within the different flowers, you're going to see different patterns. I'm not good enough to identify that as a dahlia, because to me, these look all different to me.
I'd say, from a complete layman's point of view, not, because there appears to be 2 separate sort of leaf formations on those plants. But maybe we're drilling down a little too much here.
Yep. We probably are, and it's really easy to do on this. I'm going to, before we go forward, just point out some of the things I noticed, and that was one of them is that the actual engraving, that it's neat to know that they carved it in reverse and backwards and forwards as far as height. So the flowers and all the colorations weren't there in the original. I noticed all kinds of little things through there, like your vector symbol. Am I annotating? How do I do that on here?
You can see your mouse.
View options.
Yeah. Do you see my mouse or no?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, you guys do. Oh, great. Okay. I didn't know if you did or not. Now, where was it? So right here, like for instance, that looks like your perfect vector right here that they use as a number 7, or again with the spacecraft, and that I just noticed how predominant. There seems to be a lot of hidden encoding in here. The pillars on the side, you'll notice the fleur-de-lis on the top that was pointed out, and what looks like the spires on top of the tiki-tak.
Something.
But look at the shape of this. Look at the shape of that. They're different. And I think that the talent of this engraver is that nothing in here is accidental. I don't think that this is a sloppy version.
See, that's exactly what I was going to say about those flowers. Because at first I was thinking maybe the weirdness of that top right flower was just some of the engraving technique. But then I'm like, no, there's so much skill here. That can't be it.
That's
So if you look at that, wait, let me get my.
Look at the XX down here. Look at the bottom of the pillar. It's almost like saying, like, this is a double X to me means no, stay away, or that. But look at your symbols at the bottom of your pillar and how different they are. This looks like 2 X's to me, and this looks like a sun ray or something. They're not, they're very different symbols. To me, like a positive and a negative. But the differences between the pillars, how they reverse in, and your patterns are closed here and they open the other direction.
And the fact that those pillars look slightly energy gathering and
beyond that, it feels like there is energy coming out to me.
Right.
So
I think Martin will be quite excited.
Exactly. Like the ticky-tack on the top of the towers and that you're doing. I mean, to me, you can feel the energy coming out of it. Oops, now these circles are coming where I was doing it earlier. It does take a while.
I was about to tell you that sometimes the thing will delay a bit when you are doing the drawing actually on the screen. Can you see my mouse now?
No. So somebody else take over and draw on that too if you want.
No, I just wanted to see. I just wanted to hope I could use my mouse without having to draw, because I know the drawing is delayed.
That wasn't a computer lag. That was just me lagging.
Okay. Oh, no problem. Do you see where I'm circling now?
Yeah, circling. Yeah.
That looks like an eye to me.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
The way that they fold and do things, it's like parts. You almost wonder if this is like a mad fold up or something where you fold together. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No, they do love using their folds to hide things. That's a common theme.
There's a lot of in the engraving almost that looks, like long lettering, that again, if you look at things differently, that you're going to, in other words, I think that somebody could get lost in this photo for hours and hours looking for clues in that, because it feels like a hidden picture, like as a child, where you need to find all this hidden symbols or what's in there. Everywhere you look, they're there.
Shoot. Do you see where I dropped that arrow pointing to that flower?
Right here? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You see how right where I'm pointing, that series of petals almost makes a flat disc plane with stuff sprouting up out of it and stuff hanging down below it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just seeing it.
What, you mean like a peeled orange?
Well, I was thinking like something that we're all trying to figure out here. Yes.
Cami.
Yes.
Maybe time to talk. Oh no, we're saving that.
Oh well, no, we can. Let's do that. We'll do the orange next, or we can do it this week later on if we get there. If people want to, I think it'll be in the first. The orange is great. Yeah. The orange is great.
Just ignore me. I'll just throwing spanners in the works here. Sorry.
That's okay. We're confusing. We had our pre-show was outstanding. We went in so many different directions, and we're following some things back on it right now. Going back here, remember how I thought this was the sun charging the moon? I looked at this and rethought it and where they were on positions. I will put some of my faults in that out there, that I am dyslexic and I reverse things. And I stared at this and it's like, you know what? I think I told them wrong. I told you that this was the sun charging the moon. I think in the firmament, with where they are in positions and where they would be in the sky, and we're looking at it over and over, this is the dark sun. It's not, there is no light to it in the firmament. It's a black sun. And it would be charging, but it is illuminating the moon and making the phases. And it actually matches the phase at the height that you would be seeing. Like, again, when they do it backwards, if you think that this is the sun down here, remember, think of where you were in your lunar phases and where this phase.
I was going to say, is that why the moon?
The moon is going to be a little bit lower than it. Yeah. So this is actually, so it's crescented because of the position that the sun is charging the moon. The moon is below it. It's just starting to catch the crescent of it. And then it's taking the holograph and it's reflecting it backwards. And then this is going to give our distance perspective. But the sun actually is not emulating anything in this picture. It's not until it reacts in our dome, or as a hologram coming into it, that it's reacting with our atmosphere in this. Now I found last night, I'm gonna let's see if I can bring Skype.
I'm seeing some ancient Hebrew letters in here too.
Yes,
They're more.
a lot. Hebrew letters and Greek letters galore. Where are you seeing them, Walt? You can get completely. I mean, it's fine with me. I could stare at the Flammarion forever. I have. The more you look, the more you see. And again, that it just came out of nowhere. I started really freaking out on what you said about the break in the dome. I was still following the patterns, and I didn't really see it, but it does to me. This is crazy. Again, they're going through the break in the dome. I don't know if this is a don't go here, go to this pole. I mean, there's all kinds of different possibilities, but this for sure looks completely damaged and cracked. Another possibility on why the globe deception could be to try to keep us from trying to get out of the dome. Because right now we don't think we can get out. That was just a weird random thought. Don't know if it's true or not.
That's part of the deception, is trying to keep us here and not
right
little playtime lands they have somewhere else.
But yeah, it's definitely, he's going through the dome, but the fact that it's broken further down and around him, to me, if you could just poke through the dome anywhere, you wouldn't need a crack in it or a break in it. In other words,
and not just anywhere either, because of the position of the sun that we're seeing,
right?
Whether that's sunrise or sunset, he's either going out through the north or the south,
right? And they're marking your poles. Think of these as magnetics. They're poles, they're pillars. Those are your poles.
And the right hand pole would be the center.
No, I think your center pole is your tree of life. They pulled it through here, as I think this is metaphorically showing it in the center of this map. But I think that the North Pole is the tree of life in the center of the map. And if you remember the magnetics, you had poles on the outside that would be against where the dome is.
Interesting. And anyone,
and again, this is just my interpretation. So it's not like saying, oh, this is the way it is.
No,
ponder on it. Yeah.
Absolutely. But anyone who has any speculation on what that tree actually is, what sort of tree it is, then let us know in the comments.
Large. No, I'm kidding.
I took the picture too. I printed it in the reverse image. Like I've got it. I could, I can play with them in print, but like forward, reverse, and was folding and doing different things with it. It's as you look at it in different directions and turn it upside down, and I encourage like doing it forward, backwards, and piecing them, more possibilities come out. You can get very, very lost in it.
That's a good idea. So you printed it sort of backwards and forwards, and
yeah.
I was going to say, can you rotate it?
You can do it right now.
Yeah, you can do it right here. So if I wanted to, this is a rotate, not a mirror image. My other software does a mirror image. I have it right here mirrored. So I'm just going to go.
So if you mirrored it now, this is what the sculptor would have made.
Yep. And I just brought it up for you there.
So this is probably a better image to look at, actually.
Unless, again, it's encoded. Which way are we supposed to look? This is where you have to be really careful. And this is something to be pondered for a long time. There's so much information in here.
That looks so different.
It does.
And it made me see so much different immediately. Like at the bottom right corner by where the cane is going through the dome, you see how those clouds are shaded? Like there's more going on below all this. Like there's some kind of depth below where those clouds are right there at that bottom corner.
Yes, I do. And I'm pointing them out. Keep talking. Keep talking.
Well, no, I'm just like obviously it goes further down. There's more to it, and then it's almost like
looks like there's an eye in his sleeve.
Yes, right here. That's what I
sure.
right here. That looks for sure like an eye. It almost looks on different angles. You can see on the other one, you'll see a different face, but you'll almost like pick up faces or things on the road. And it's like could this be? And then you wonder, what am I looking at? Or you start questioning things.
Everything. Right.
I do think like in the sun work, it's like tight here.
And there's a question mark in the tree. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your son, but
Exactly.
there's a question mark in the tree. If you look at the left top branch that goes
Right here. Oh, and
there.
Yeah.
yes. Wow. And
that is a Hebrew letter.
Awesome. What is it? What is it?
Is it?
Yeah. Like most of the early ancient Hebrew is just like Egyptian. It's hieroglyphs. And then there's Paleo, which is kind of the same, but it's a little bit different, like a cursive almost of that. And then they have modern, which is Babylonian.
Well, in the folds of his robe, right at the crook of his knee where your green line is, those look like some type of lettering of some alphabet.
Yeah, I'd have to get Jack. I bet Jack could find the whole alphabet
Yeah.
in this picture.
Look at the sun right here. Look at this group of it right here. You just know there's lettering in right there.
Wow, yes.
And here, you know that this is encoded in here.
I just had a Mad Magazine flashback feeling when I saw that for some reason.
I have.
We need to do a fold in with this thing.
It's almost between a Mad Magazine fold in and a finding the hidden thing, where you have to go and find the things in the picture, find the carrot and find the pencil and the hidden object. So it's
I
like
see a person in the tree. Sorry, Cami.
the person I was thinking of it right here in the center, sitting
Picking up in the middle.
out.
Yes. The shadow. Hell yeah.
That was what I wanted to say earlier when we were talking about the question mark. You can keep.
It's like playing Where's Wally, isn't it?
I know, this is fun.
Yeah, we may have to do polarity. This may have to be change the episodes to the Flammarion because
yeah, we can do that. We can do that. The title can change.
Either way, I think
there's another like a
title's
5
got
or something. I mean, look at the.
I love his
Oh
hand.
yeah, the 5. Yeah, I see it. Yes, absolutely.
I love his hand and the resemblance that has to, what is it? Total Recall.
Yeah. Oh yeah, his hand.
When he powers up the power station in Total Recall.
Oh yeah, the weird alien hand shape he had to make. No doubt.
Do you see the eye right above to the left of his hand? Almost.
Where?
Down
Other hand?
right by his hand. No, the other hand. Yeah, right under where his robe, right where his like elbow would be.
This eye here.
Yep, that's the same.
Yeah, yeah, that eye.
right.
You can't get away from it. I folded eyes together. I can't find the other. I can't find the other eye to match it. I almost the closest thing I came is like looking at it upside down. It almost looks like a cyclops head.
Right.
It was going to be the next one was to flip it, but the moon. I think the moon only has one eye. The moon that's in the firmament, so that could maybe be the match.
It could be
a lot smaller.
Can you see the eyes in the roots of the trees? They look like octopus, but then the little heads look like alien heads.
Yeah.
Cthulhu.
Little sperms, aren't they?
Sorry, people. As we're doing all of our circles. I don't know how to clear the circles. I just messed this up. I turned this upside down.
Click undo. It eventually will go away. It just takes a minute. There you go.
Is it here under edit and create? Then I'm going to hit undo.
It's gone now on my screen.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. When I flipped it, it went okay.
There's a really frowny face emoji on the back of his head as well. I just thought I'd mention that.
It's not, again, there's something else there that you can look at it and oops. I don't know how to enlarge it and keep that part on there. It's not letting me.
Probably a control or shift or both would be my guess.
Well, that's so weird. It's like in an imaginary window in the middle.
But when you look at it
There we
upside
go.
down, it certainly lends credence to what you were saying, Walt, about there being something below it, or at least the outside going lower than the inside.
Right.
Maybe we
Right,
do
Sam,
live on a pizza.
I know, right? Damn it all.
This right here was almost, you wondered, I know I found in here, I'm trying to remember where. Let's see.
What do we think that scroll is on the bottom or the top at the moment?
Conspicuously blank.
It is, isn't it? Or spotty.
Yeah.
Really shading, but no words, nothing. It's definitely a banner scroll of some sort that says 0 on it.
that be
Or
our
it
history?
almost looks like if you looked at it sideways, where they have the long letters and they're stretched or whatever. And do you know what I mean? I think there is something there. We just
And you
don't know how to
lean
look
it
at it.
and they become letters. Yes, ma'am. I
Right.
know exactly what you're talking about.
You've got something here going there, but don't the long ones make you feel like that if there's ways to, I think, put it, you just know there's letters here. There are ways to get it out.
Fold it
Mm-hmm.
in the
Telling you,
crease
Mad
that they
Magazine.
would line up.
Oh, like the
Madden magazine.
dollar bills. No, like the dollar bills showing
9/11. Yeah.
9/11 and nice call. Good call with Zach. I'm wondering if it's our history and it's just got
I'll be printing up a few of
patches
these
in it.
soon. I see it coming.
We didn't even get to the top of the frame where you have these animals,
The little creatures.
all the different creatures over the top, or is it the bottom, or again, you start.
Or to just go sideways. You know what you just said there, Zach? Let's
look at that. You want it sideways?
I believe where it is. Okay. Or is it here? The center point. Look, they've marked it with a fold. So if you were to maybe just fold it in half and overlay it, so this side and this side, maybe the two might match up and give you a combined image that is readable as opposed to
reading it as hash marks. Wow. Okay. That's brilliant.
Right.
From a
Kind of
puzzle.
makes you think of the primer, finding the primer in what movie was that? Contact, where it was matching up the primer and
the three-dimensional thinking that they had to use.
Right.
What's with the wheel?
Ooh, Flat Earth Mother in chat just says invert the color and make the black white and the white black. That'd be good too.
Can anybody do that if I drop it? I mean, I don't have.
Yeah, if you can drop a good size copy in chat somewhere, I can pull up Photoshop and do that real quick.
Oops, let me get out of here. I think.
I love this community.
Loving this.
Well said. Well said. Here.
Now how do I get the chat back up? Because that window's closed.
I'm having trouble doing the same thing. When he said chat, I'm like, oh yeah, there is chat. I've been lost in the presentation. Somewhere at the top.
If I put it in the Skype chat, maybe won't that work too? Or
it will work, yeah.
Okay, let's get. And I'm sorry, are you
guys? Do I have permission to chime out? I'm going to still be here in the chat room. But I've got to take my little dog out as well. But I'm glued to this. For Cami, I'm freaking fascinated. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be in the chat room watching. But I'm going to have to chime out because I'm about to have some noise in the background with the dog. But I'm right here. I'm going nowhere.
Ranty makes a good point in chat too. Look at how the inside is very natural, but the outside is mechanical.
Dude, you know what? I have a way that because you guys are a little bit more better at this than I am. How about if you go to Wikipedia, type in Flammarion engraving and pull the download from there?
Yeah, I can do that. I can
because that's the high definition download and it's right there on the wiki page. You might see something more on the page.
That's a really good point, though, Ranty, with the mechanical outside, especially the wheel within wheels. I mean, nothing inside is man-made other than the houses and that sort of thing. But outside, the only thing...
Layering.
Yeah, I mean, would the layering look the same if it didn't have those colours, though?
That's why in the black and white, I thought... I can pull up a black and white while he's looking. We have it again. We wanted it reversed though, right? That was definitely helpful.
So, Cami, do you know where this has been seen? I mean, are there, stained glass windows of this? Are there, have people replicated it? How is it so prevalent in, I don't know, flat Earth or, what? I've seen it millions of times now, but I wouldn't have seen it once 10 years ago.
I remember seeing it years and years ago when it got my attention and I fell in love with it years ago as a favorite piece of art because there's something that's very grabbing about it. so let's keep on going why he's going, because I don't know all of the answers. Again, I get locked on the pictures and I forget to read the words, and then I forget the words. But the engraving depicts a man clothed in a long robe and carrying a staff, who is at the edge of the earth where it meets the sky. He kneels down and passes his head, shoulders, and right arms through the star-studded sky, discovering a marvelous realm of circling clouds, fires, and suns beyond the heavens. One of the elements of the cosmic machinery bears a strong resemblance to the traditional pictorial representation of the wheel in the middle of the wheel, described in the visions of the Hebrew prophet as a keel. So that's the wheel we're talking about. The caption that accompanies the engraving in Flammarion's book reads, "A missionary of the Middle Ages tells that he has found the point where the sky and the earth touch."
I just got chills.
Yes, that felt real. Attribution. So it's a missionary in the Middle Ages that he found the point where the sky and the earth touch. In 1957, astronomer Ernst Zinner claimed that the image dated to the German Renaissance, but he was unable to find any version published earlier than 1906. Further investigation, however, revealed that the work was a composite of images characteristic of different historical periods. I don't think so. And that it had been made with a burn, a tool used for wood engraving only since the late 18th century. The image was traced to Flammarion's book by Arthur Beer, an astrophysicist and a historian of German science at Cambridge, and independently by Bruno Weber, the curator of rare books at the Zurich Central Library. I'm about done with words, but if somebody else wants to read, it's like, it's hard not looking at the
I don't
pictures.
mind. I can read. Just where'd you stop? Okay.
I think
you don't have to trace it for
before you carry on, Walt. For me, that's a very foggy provenance. It's we're still not. It can't be a composite if we're talking about an engraving, not an engraving composite. But that image would imply then that the original engraving is not around, or because they seem to be talking about just this image as opposed to the physical object from which the image was taken.
That it came from, exactly.
So it makes you wonder. It doesn't really have a history. It just seemed to pop into existence in visuals in 1906.
Okay.
And that they traced the way that it was made to an unusual woodcut thing, but it does not imply that they still have the engraving.
Flammarion had been apprenticed at the age of 12 to an engraver in Paris, and it is believed that many of the illustrations for his books were engraved from his own drawings, probably under his supervision. Therefore, it is plausible that Flammarion himself created the image, though the evidence for this remains inconclusive. Like most other illustrations in Flammarion's books, the engraving carries no attribution. Although sometimes referred to as a forgery or a hoax, Flammarion does not characterize the engraving as a medieval or Renaissance woodcut, and the mistaken interpretation of the engraving as an older work did not occur until after Flammarion's death. The decorative border surrounding the engraving is distinctively non-medieval, and it was only by cropping it that the confusion about the historical origin of the image became possible. That's really yeah. It sounds like they're really trying to make this origin and all that so doubting and so,
What do they say about the surroundings?
They say that it's definitely not medieval period, which maybe they just, you distinguish by art styles, Art Nouveau. I take it as like jewelry where you do it, but it doesn't.
They look like dragons to me.
Where do you want me to go?
Where at? No, just stay on that sentence I was reading there for a second. Where that one. According to Bruno Weber and the astronomer Joseph Asbrook, The depiction of a spherical heavenly vault separating the earth from an outer realm is similar to the first illustration in Sebastian. Click that for me. Or wait, maybe the next word. Go back and click the next
Cosmographia
word.
or whatever.
That Cosmographia thing.
There you go.
There it is.
According to there. Yep.
That one. Yeah. Click that and see what this engraving they're referring to might be.
That's an
Oh,
interesting
wow.
Look at that map.
Wow. Okay, sorry.
Okay. That's crazy. I've never seen this.
Can you zoom in on that a bit? That's Africa on the left.
It's when I zoom in, it's
Yeah, they're saying Germania is next to Africa. That looks like the Reed Sea right there, and the Red Sea.
Galilee.
Here's Scythia. Here's
There's Tartaria right there in the corner.
Nations, Asia.
Tartaria in the corner, bottom right.
Tartaria.
Wow.
Whoa, shit. Oh,
If you spin the globe or just a flat map of that area, start with the Mediterranean look, just spin it, you can see it's actually quite accurate by the looks of it. That whole red body.
Look in the very middle. Is that a stone circle in the middle of the chest?
Yeah, and what does it say? What is the word in there?
Bohemia?
Bohemia?
Holy, it's a Bohemian Grove. Get the fuck out.
Oh, shit.
Lithuania. Wow.
We
should get Martin on for this one.
If there's any text to this, is there any text
Yeah,
that goes along with this?
Right there.
What website this came from?
Yeah, let's see if I can get us. Oops. Okay, there we go. Who's our reader? Do you want me to start, or do you want somebody else to?
I'm stunned right now. I'm grinning and stunned, and I probably can't read. I'm just freaking out. This is awesome.
Let's see, the Cosmographia, or Cosmography, Cosmography, by Sebastian Münster from 1488 to 1552. From 1544 is the earliest German language description of the world. It had numerous editions in different languages, including Latin, French, translated by Francois de Belleforest, in Italian, English, and Czech. The last German edition was published in 1628, long after his death. The Cosmographia was one of the most successful and popular books of the 16th century. It passed through 24 editions in 100 years. The success was due to the notable woodcuts, some by Hans Holbein the Younger, Urs Graf, Hans Rudolf Manuel Deutsch, and David Candle. It was most important, reviving geography in the 16th century Europe. Among the notable maps within Cosmographia is the map Tabula Novarum Insularum, which is credited as the first map to show American continents as a geographically discrete.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because that's basically saying states are bullshit. The maps are a lot more detailed than the world we're supposed to have discovered.
Right.
We'll claim it's the first one.
Well, to be fair, we're still on Wikipedia.
Geographia.
I vote to look this up on something other than Wikipedia.
Absolutely. I 100%. It's just at this point, it's.
And there's got to be maybe a PDF somewhere. I wonder if we can find some pictures of these cuts.
Is Martin still in chat? He may know all about this already.
He may. I don't know. In our chat here on Zoom, I popped in that negative woodcut of the Flammarion, where I inverted the blacks and the white.
Oh, nice. And, okay, we'll let somebody else
look
take
at
over
that,
presenting. This is the map that they talked about, and I brought it up from something definitely not Wikipedia. I brought it up from somebody that deals with antique maps. So that seems that this is going to be under raremaps.com.
Wow, look at Florida. Obvious.
Look at that.
Cuba. Uh-huh.
And what is the giant landmass to the right that's connected to the United States there?
This
That's
right
gotta be
here?
Russia.
No, up to the right. Up
to the right.
Yeah, what is
That'd be
that?
Greenland.
Yeah.
And it's
Greenland.
connected.
Yeah,
There's a land
Greenland.
bridge there.
Nova Scotia, all through there. Yeah.
Connected, and then this, it says India on it, which is interesting. You wonder if this
Maybe
is part of the
was
states.
before everything moved.
Yeah, you wonder if this is. By the way, if you go to our magnetics and that on there, it does. I mean, little
What was that giant island
Cami
in the
ADD.
Pacific?
Oops.
There was a huge island in the Pacific.
Yeah, I saw that just now.
What the hell is that? The name on that island?
That's Baja, mate.
Just above the ship. Looks like it starts with a Z.
Do you know most people in England?
It won't let me get
well,
any
I'm talking
bigger.
for
Let's-
myself.
Would that not be California?
Didn't know Baja existed.
No, California and
Wasn't
Baja, that would be all further north because that's right across from like almost South America.
This says ZIPU in. I can't. Part of it is a little bit blurry. It will not get bigger for me. You guys know where I am right now. I can drop the links in and so somebody has a better. You drop this in the
Archipelago 7448. Plus something. I don't know.
What's that with the Q up there? Quinfay?
I lost you guys. Hold on 1 second.
You take your time.
Martin just dropped us a link in chat. I'm trying to get it so I can.
Oh,
get
good.
It.
Maybe he's that's Martin. That's what I'm trying to do is link him that. I'll bring it up until then, or we'll go back to it to see if you guys can, because I can't seem to get it any bigger here, and I don't know why. Oops. Oh, I have. Oh, you think these are stronger glasses than the ones I'm using? Oh, they're cleaner. Oh, those are dirty.
Can we get Martin on? Maybe.
Martin on would be great because I'm about ready to.
That sounds brilliant to me. I'm over at the. I'm over at the.
Got the feeling he's shouting at the screen, going.
I'm sure he is.
I would.
You just listen and like we need to get him on here. Oh, I found the link finally. It's in the description. It was just a bunch of links, and
We're on Zoom, Martin. Hopefully you've got Zoom.
Shouldn't need it. You should be able to access it through a browser.
With just a browser.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll throw it to him on. I'll throw it to him on. I'll throw you the link on Skype, Martin. Hang on.
Okay. While we're waiting
press
for
the
Martin.
big X, Cami.
Press the big X.
The fourth icon that pops up in the window.
There you go. Yep.
Oh, thank you, boys. Okay, and then I can just move it. Okay.
Wow, it even says Cuba. CVBA.
Sure does.
Wow.
And Jamaica.
Cannibala.
I only said California, boys, because it is portrayed on a lot of old maps, California, as a separate island off.
That's what I was saying, Adam.
North America.
Most people in the UK don't even know that exists because it's not part of the US. So when they see a map of the US, it doesn't include that enormous chunk of land that hangs off the left-hand side. Or am I wrong? There is a big
what I was going to say with that is
it's not huge.
Florida.
Yeah, the 1600 maps have a lot more land on California and on the mainland, looking out on the west, but that seems to have just lots and lots.
What is that flag?
As John says, archipelagos of.
Do you see that what we were calling Iceland is called Francisca? It would explain all the French in Canada, wouldn't it?
That's very interesting. I think,
and it's got trees all over it. Look,
that's
which
not Greenland.
Iceland certainly doesn't.
Could be Iceland.
Or sorry, Greenland certainly doesn't.
I think that's
Iceland's the little one off to the right, surely.
I think Iceland's over here.
Where's
Iceland has all the green. Greenland has all the ice.
Right. I think you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is going to be.
So you got Africa on the right, and then there must be sticking out.
Right here. Looks like a snake head, but.
Yeah, it says Hispania, it looks like.
I don't think England's on there. So yeah, maybe that is Iceland in the top right.
But Martin can't come on. He's otherwise to engage as a father.
We all have that.
Oh, I didn't even see that. I was so busy getting the link over to him on Skype. I didn't even know he had said that. Well, that's unfortunate.
Short notice. Short notice.
And very short notice. Thank you, though, for just the link here. I'm trying to get it over to Josh so we can have it. Hang on one more minute.
Thank you, Martin, for again joining in and doing that. And I know that this is you'd have so much more information on this. So maybe another time we can touch base on it, because again, I'm lost with it.
There's the Azores, look.
Bunch of islands out in the middle of the Atlantic too.
Yeah, right. I was just about to ask about them, because I know there is a bunch of islands in the Atlantic where they have, relay towers and repeater towers and that sort of thing.
All right,
Can't remember what they're called.
Should be in the Zoom chat with all of us here now. So,
Say again?
the link for the book that Martin shared is that this book we're digging through, the Cosmographia. It is here in the link in the chat.
Regio Gigantum. Is that where the giants were?
Well, of course.
Very
nice spot, Zach.
That's the biggest boat I've ever seen.
Well, that's because it's going to Regio Gigantic. Oh.
That's what I thought. I'll tell you what, Cami, I know you probably had reams of paper of what we were going to cover tonight, but we will get to it. I guarantee you, we will get to it, but not tonight, probably. Right. We're probably going to take this thing very slowly and one step at a time.
Can we leave with just a way for people to start looking at polarity a little bit?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, we definitely need to get into it.
And just just a preview on pre-homework or that, because we'll talk about it more. So something just to ponder on, and pondering on it. Let's see what would be the best bet is. A lot of people are familiar with polarized sunglasses, and most people have them. If you wonder, my son gave me a trick that if you look at a monitor and even turn your head, you'll wonder sometimes when you're in sunglasses and driving, you turn your head while driving, or you turn your head while looking at a screen, and areas of it will go to dark. Are people familiar with that? Or
I'm not, no, but I do know that I asked you what polarized, how I could tell if I had polarized lens, and you had me put one in front of the other and turn it 90 degrees and it went really dark. But I'm going to go off on a completely other track here again and ask if people know about shades, wearing shades, and tricking, then the act of wearing shades, tricking the body into thinking that it's not sunny, so it doesn't need to produce its own sunscreen. So the more you wear sunglasses, the more sunburn you get. I just thought I'd throw that out there for no apparent reason. But I have never worn sunglasses for the last 5 years now.
John, you know that's what I'm doing. It did my head in again at Easter. But yeah, I've always refused to use sunscreen. It was probably a couple of years ago you mentioned it. So all last summer I didn't do it, and my tan has stayed beautiful, by the way, John. But I didn't.
Well, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
I mean, you're literally tricking the front door, but it honestly. And again, I've not wore sunglasses at all. I went to Italy for 2 weeks, and it rained the first week, really. But my skin's definitely darkened more.
And I'll tell you what made me slightly annoyed is that those 2 Polaroid sunglasses I got out from the car were bought in Australia from the Cancer Council. So I immediately thought, there's something in that. I don't want to wear sunglasses anymore. But yeah, apparently, if you wear sunglasses, it tricks your eyes and your body into thinking that it's not sunny and therefore it doesn't need to produce its own
Protection.
sunscreen. Yeah, which is D3, I think.
Wow.
And therefore you are more likely to get sunburnt if you're wearing sunglasses. So yeah, just thought I'd throw that complete sideball in there, but there you go.
That's a great one to do. This one, because that's going to be an area, what I just want people to notice is if they have Polaroid glasses, tilt their heads, look at different screens, look while driving in that, and kind of see how they were filtering the light. Because it's going to be a huge topic of discussion and go into a lot of areas. We were going to cover it today. We're not going to get there. I'm really wearing out, but it would be helpful. It would be helpful again, just look up polarity, look up polarized sunglasses if you want to, or more than anything, because again, I don't want to give people too much homework. Just be observant of like glasses, take 2 pair of glasses, play with them, spin them, and see what different effects you can get. And I think we can, next time if I'm invited back at some point, we can go through and talk about what it might mean. Does that work for everybody?
Absolutely. You were always invited back.
Don't do that, because like I'll always come.
It's an open invitation. Yeah.
No, but when you say that, I mean, people, you're supposed to say that to your guests so they feel like they're welcome, but most of your guests have the good sense not to keep, showing or coming back. So
yeah, stop the guest nonsense.
We'll be sad if you don't. How about that?
There we go.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't want to make you sad. I really, really enjoy talking about this with you guys. I think we're having a blast with it, and I think that's really important. And I think we're getting somewhere.
Apologize we didn't get to what you thought you were going to cover today, but this stuff needs masticating. I said masticating. It needs stewing over. It needs, you know what I mean? I don't honestly think it can be rushed.
Yeah. What I'm going to go into, I need to probably go into, this was really meant to be, and this was fun. I need to go into it where I don't have a headache. And I don't mean to have a headache today, but I do. It's been one of those weeks. And so it's probably best that we put it off, not on this one, because like having a very clear, not headachy brain on it is better. It's a little bit more complicated than the Flammarion, or, a lot of different ways to look at it and get it right. Not complicated, simple, but that's the trick, is keeping it simple, because that's really what it is.
And you've got to
Cami, will you just stop screen sharing a second?
Uh-huh.
You got to keep us on track, because we'll veer it off any which way. So when you've got something to say, just get it out there, stick it on there, and tell us to shut the hell up.
Oh no, this has been lovely, and again we covered a lot, but it was I think where we're going and what we talked about at the pre-show and that, I think it's again good to focus, have a thing where we're just really focusing in on that one and not going all over, because there's a lot to learn on it.
And I did not change the title yet because I forgot what you wanted me to call it besides Polarity Moon.
Oh, look at the Flammarion.
There we go. We'll do Flammarion. That's perfect.
Wow. Oh, now I don't want to go. Look at that. Okay, guys, if you're keeping that up, I'm coming back in a few minutes.
I just got back to the call. I was putting the links for the books in the show description. Oh my God. That is
wow.
Yeah, I'll be lost in this.
Cami, feel free to come and go as you please. It's absolutely fine. We'll probably.
You would be surprised how many times one of us sneaks away for a little bathroom break or some coffee or whatever, a little ice, whatever we need.
Wow, this is seeing it all over again. Wow.
We stopped live streaming, and then Josh goes live streaming with his mum.
Oh, that was fabulous. That was so good. Okay, I'm taking at least 5 of that. I'm going to put me on mute in case I want to come back, because that changed everything on the reverse. Whoever said to do that, can we also do that where it's the other direction?
Surely can.
Oh yeah, flip flop inside out.
Flip flop is easy. Yeah.
Who was it who said to do that?
Whoever did, thank you. And then I think if we do the mirror image of that one, then it goes, that's original. It takes it back to original, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah,
I'm going to be back.
That image. Who was it, guys? Who said that in chat?
I wish I could remember.
Oh, for God's
Earth
sake.
Mama?
The only bloody use
Come
we've
on.
had
We're
for chat.
IRM, man. Come on, John.
3.5 years. And you can't even remember who it was. Own up. Say who you are. Tell us. Not that I'm looking at chat, but there you go. I'm going to shut up now.
I'm not even sure how to flip it or anything like that. Don't think I necessarily can in Paint, maybe? Seems. Oh, no, look, there's a rotate. Like I'm an idiot. Idiot. I can flip. Oh.
Fuck it. I'm going to look in chat.
Yeah, share whatever you're flipping, Josh.
Martin dropped a link for an artist called, oh man, I've lost it. Francesco Petrarca, who he believes might actually be the artist of this wood engraving rather than, or I may be reading it wrong. We just need to get Martin on here. Probably the best thing to do coming up soon.
Who said that?
Martin in chat.
Okay.
It was Flat Earth Mother.
I thought I was right. Flat Earth Mother, not Mama. Mother.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Flat Earth Mother that suggested we invert the colours.
Yes.
Yep.
Quality. Shout out to you.
Oh, there's so much more in here now.
Yeah, even in the sun rays, like written through here, T, maybe an H, a U, maybe. Looks like there's some letters kind of spaced out and through here.
That is wild. Did anybody else notice like the 6 layers of the 2 suns on the outside?
Expand on that.
In what is it? Enoch. He talks about the sun going through 6 different
gates, portal.
Yeah.
What, and you reckon that? What do we got?
I don't know.
2, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay.
Like in the actual sun itself, not the lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. I think I'm seeing what I want to see, really.
Those creatures on the top, they're looking a bit like cats now rather than dragons.
I'm still seeing dragons. I think they've all got sort of spiny backs, but the one.
Most of them look like skeletons.
Well, this is a engraving.
I wonder if the columns could be a tool described as fasciae. Although I know fasciae are made up of
multiple
dowels lashed together with leather or something. I don't know, but I don't know. Anyway.
Certainly multiple spires and pyramidal roofs, isn't there? That they bother to put in the engraving, talking about antiquity.
I would say we're probably stretching our geekiness here.
Sorry, I'm
knocking on 3 hours. Adam, you sound like The Walking Dead.
I'm ready for bed. It's been a long week and a long day.
Yeah,
but
I think
that's cool. That reverse. That's a great shout. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you drop this in Skype?
Yeah, for sure.
I want Jack to look at it and see how many Hebrew letters, if he can pull out the whole alphabet.
I'll put it in the pre-show.
Yeah, the first two letters of the Hebrew alphabet are Aleph, Bet.
I think John makes a good point, Josh. I'm going to go into one eye mode. And if I do nod off, then you know how to kill the stream.
I do indeed.
I shall. In silence.
I'll be entering into standby mode myself shortly. But I'm going to tell you about Tylenol.
Whoa, Hank, settle down, man.
Well, it's not quite space lettuce, but I do need a bit of space lettuce to nod off to. So Tylenol's probably even more apt a topic.
Well, I'm going to say it quickly before I get cut off or whatever. But there's been scientific study that proves that Tylenol removes empathy, and that goes out to Crrow777. He knows what I'm talking about. And
can I just check? Tylenol's acetaminophen, is it?
Yes. Yeah, whatever.
That's paracetamol. For you and me, John.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's been shown to remove the emotion of empathy. And for anyone in the know, that has been the plan for many a year. So I don't know if anyone knew that about the latest study of Tylenol, but there you go.
I did not, and that's fascinating.
Probably compounded with fluoride and aluminum and heavy metals, I'm sure.
Lithium, yeah, all the rest of it.
Paracetamol or acetaminophen, one of those odd drugs, and I may be out of date, but we spend a lot of time learning about ibuprofen and stuff like that. With the cyclooxygenase inhibitors and you learn loads like that, and they get to paracetamol, but you think you'd know loads about it, and we go and we think paracetamol works a little bit like that, but in the central nervous system. Anyway, next topic. So that kind of fits, John, because it is a depressant, it's a painkiller, but its mechanism really is unknown. So if it is a full CNS depressant, then maybe it does have other undetected or suppressed or unrecorded, or not even that, maybe non or difficult to attribute side effects that are being maybe linked now.
Well, it's similar to aspirin being shown to coagulate the blood to help
its antiplatelet effect for
thin the blood. Yeah, but it's great while you're on it, but don't ever get off it, because it'll go back to being treacle in your veins or whatever. But the fact that you say Tylenol is paracetamol, I didn't know that. And I've known, since I was, I don't know, probably 5, I've been told and advised to take paracetamol for a headache or any sort of pain relief, anything along those lines. Paracetamol in the UK is a standard, ingredient in your medical supply. I didn't know it was Tylenol, and that just makes it even more interesting that a recent study has shown that it has been shown to remove empathy from people. I see so many strands of agendas designed to remove empathy from humanity that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. So yeah, interesting for me anyway. But on that note, it's 10 to 2, and I'm going to do a runner. Great show, guys. Didn't go anywhere where we wanted it to go, or
Oh, bullshit, John. We just got a huge rundown on Tylenol.
absolutely. There you go. Just about to get sued by the big pharma. But yeah, anyway, I'll do a runner and I'll see you in the after show, guys.
All right, John, you have a great few minutes and we'll see you in the after show.
Cheers, mate. Adam, try staying awake. Rob, don't know if you're still there. Well, you're a star. Cami, love you. See you next week.
All right, pal.
On that note, goodbye.
Take care,
Bye.
cousin.
You guys.
Savage.
Thank you again for having me on. It was wonderful, actually. I do want to come back and
You don't have
let's
to go,
keep going
Cami.
on this. Yes, let's keep going on this. There's so much on the map, and we promise we're going to get to. We've been discussing to the ground map, to the top map, to connecting all of the different pieces of it, and this is the journey along the way. So thank you for sharing it with me.
Thank you, Cami. This is
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm going to
been
go make
amazing.
dinner for my boys and listen to you guys in the background. Look at that. I'm going to spend hours, I can tell already, looking at and everybody does understand. And intaglio, I forget to, it was something that entered into my world a lot, a regular world, or word. What an intaglio is like an engraving, except for done raised. It's again, every word that would be cut in is raised up, and it's the exact reversal. And so wrap your mind around that there, or look up other pictures of intaglios and that. It's amazing, the craftsmanship, and again, all of the information encoded in it.
Yes, beautiful. Just amazing.
Wow, I'm just back at chat catching up. Martin Leakey put in the double X at the bottom is the double Taurus looking down.
Okay.
Broke my brain. Thank you, Martin. And then what was the other one about the Phoenician locking code? And he's apparently been trying to decode it for some years now. I guess that's all the weird line code stuff we keep finding and everything and trying to figure out.
This would be a fun one too on another day with a headache or this. This would be a fun one to go back and revisit and have again Martin on or some other people on it because there's so much here.
We'll definitely work on that for sure. I know he's a super busy guy, but hopefully I'm on here because he is well ahead of all of us on this kind of stuff for damn sure.
Exactly. In the meantime, I have the nerdy stuff and the other different optic glasses and that we're going to put together and see if we can make again semblance of the puzzle, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, my word for the week is quadrupole.
Quadrupole. That's a fabulous word for the week. Look into it. We're going to be talking a lot about quadruples.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a bit more homework for the rest of the week, and hopefully we'll be able to touch on it sometime in the near future.
Well, yes. Well, we're going to keep in touch and see what we can do to make happen. So you guys all have a great night, and I'll see you soon.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Cami. Love you so much.
Cami,
I love you guys too.
Cami,
Tell the
just stay
boys
away
we said
from
hi.
the Tylenol
Okay.
and the paracetamol, and try a bit of lavender oil on the temples for a
Okay.
headache.
Peppermint oil too.
Peppermint is better for I like peppermint. It's very relieving. What about Advil?
Advil, I think, is also acetaminophen. It's just the name brand acetaminophen. Tylenol, like Tylenol.
No, that's ibuprofen.
Oh, ibuprofen. I know he's one of those too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm bad. I did take some Advil.
Sometimes
like
you
I
have
said,
to-
sometimes what happens, so I think what works the best is if you can get your mind and get the excitement going. And a lot of the times, like we did Wednesday, you can just overcome anything. If you get, again, on you're focused and when your passion kicks in.
Yeah,
Caffeine and cannabis. That's what helps mine.
That I think that's the best.
Well,
All
a lot
natural.
of those pills contain caffeine, and the caffeine is the thing that gives you the upper and makes you feel better. And then the caffeine wears off and you feel like shit again, and then you go and take another caffeine pill.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Rebound.
yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Kimmy, you go. Give
Cami,
your
you
Okay.
go.
hug. Tell them
Okay.
we said hello.
Tell them thanks for sharing you with us.
Yes.
All
absolutely.
right.
Love
All
you,
right, feel
Cami.
better.
And my family loved everybody. Bye-bye, guys.
Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
Awesome.
Oh man, that was so awesome.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a
I'm like,
headbender, isn't it?
I'm spent, you guys. I'm like tired after that.
Mm.
Crazy.
I
It's a
love the
headbender.
on-air discovery. That was so great.
Sorry,
Flat Earth
Zach, I didn't
Mama.
say goodbye to
Thank
you
you.
either.
Oh, John, I know you meant to say it. Don't worry, brother. I know.
The memory, you know, too much.
The fact that you're here,
aluminium.
you're still here, John. You didn't really say goodbye to anybody.
Yeah, right. I am still here, aren't I? Sorry. Adam's probably still here too.
He is, but he said he would be. He was going to go pass out in his chair and wait for me to kill the stream remotely.
No, I want Space Lettuce to go to sleep to.
Oh, well, it turns out we're not able to do Space Lettuce much anymore because now all the AI bots are creating news for us and feeding us all these crap stories, and we can't really trust anything that we read at this point because they'll just conglomerate any group of spacey buzzwords and fill it out like a Mad Libs and call it a fucking blog post.
Hey, I'll tell you what, instead of Space Lettuce, just read what the guys on Twitter were saying to you.
Oh, Jesus. That
See ya. Bye now.
Yeah, that's quite entertaining.
Hours and hours of reading and typing that has been.
I look forward to the 8-hour Iron Realm Media show tomorrow morning with your mum.
And it gets to the point where you're just like, all right, well, you're not going to listen to anything I say. You're not going to actually go out and look at any of this. You're just going to stand firm on what you've been told because you believe it. And we're just going to not get anywhere. So then it's, oh, look at you. You turn tail and run.
Are you scared?
You losing. I'm not even competing, asshole.
You're not a scientist.
Where's your lab coat?
Let me see your math.
I go to a mechanic to fix my car.
What do you mean you taught yourself taxes? Somebody taught you math. I think you're fibbing. Gotcha. But because somebody taught me math, I can't teach myself taxes. Perfect. It's amazing the amount of crap. And I guess I can't even really hate too much because they're blind. I mean, too much Tylenol. Who the fuck knows? But I was right there with them just a few short years ago. Maybe not quite the dickheads they are, but the same general mentality, I suppose, where, look, don't be stupid. The earth isn't flat. And you must be an idiot if you think so. And it took quite a big jump to get off of that platform.
All of known science.
That's not what science tells us. Okay.
Just do an experiment. That's all you have to do.
Haven't you even taken a telescope and looked out there? Or even a laser? Surely that would do it. Haven't you even tried it? No, dickhead. Nobody's ever tried shooting a laser across water.
Why would I go with you? You're just some random person on the internet, as opposed to all of science for decades and millennia.
Random people with whom I cannot interact.
Thousands of years.
Sticks and shadows, wells,
balls in a shed,
lead balls.
What are you doing, Walt? You're quiet.
I'm adding all the little links to our description, the Flammarion stuff, changing the name, adding the Cosmographia stuff, the woodcut Francesco stuff, just all the links. Thank you, Martin, so much.
All the shit that I never would have gotten done.
It's all good.
Yeah.
I'm doing it now because I won't do it once I leave this chair. I'm done for the night. Well, no, that's a lie. I will be on later on Monster Castle Paranormal.
There's no better time to do it, though, Walt, when we're
right
on air.
now, sir. Absolutely.
When everyone's listening, and no better time. Bloody hell. Can you hear that rain?
Yeah, I can hear that rain.
Oh, I do.
It was raining the other day. I was in the gas station paying for, I don't know, gas. probably my lunch or something, and it was
as you do in a gas station.
You would think, right? But who the fuck knows? With me, there was some guy in front of me standing at the cash register. Looked out the door, looked out the window, was like, "Well, that's some weather, huh?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You're really enjoying that liquid sunshine?" And he stopped and he looked at me and he cocked his head. He said, "Liquid sunshine, huh?" I said, "I like that." So now I got somebody else out there calling rain liquid sunshine.
That's all.
Natural distillation.
That's the lifeblood right there. Makes all things. Look into it.
It's raining cats and dogs.
There is a bit of space lettuce we ought to address.
Which one was that?
The upcoming FEMA NASA asteroid drill.
Right, because nothing bad happens during a drill.
Next week, NASA and our lovely FEMA emergency management group are going to simulate during a tabletop exercise a scenario for how to respond to an asteroid on an impact trajectory with the Earth. And in this story, they talk about like full-scale simulation.
Sorry.
Ooh. Oh, no. You stick your head between your legs and look at it, and it's nowhere near as bad.
Nope. It's like from that movie Airplane, but everyone has to assume crash positions. So we all just stand up and assume a crash position.
And then go and slap the nun.
That's right. Jive turkey.
No, seriously. So NASA are simulating an asteroid attack on Earth.
Yes, the fictional asteroid was identified on March 26 and poses a potential hazard to Earth. Blah, 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 blah. We've been seeing these stories. Like these stories I quit putting in our space pile of lettuce because I kept seeing them every 5 minutes. There was a new whiz by, some new asteroid.
See, what scares me is that so many people will fall for this when they actually pull the curtain on it, or even pull a false flag on it. There will be hundreds of thousands of people, and the first people they're going to want to lynch are flat earthers who are saying space doesn't exist, neither do rocks.
Right, and what now, flat earthers?
It's your fault we're here. We could have seen this before if you'd have been smarter.
If you hadn't have distracted us and Twitter. No, but this is where I see it coming. They're building up the flat earth. It is my hypothesis. They're building up the flat earth to get to the point where the world is 50-50 flat and ball and literally slitting each other's throats on the subject. And then they'll pull something like this and all the idiots will go, "Look, you flat earthers," and come and slit all our throats. Sorry, on that note.
Then we're back to 8 inches per mile squared.
Or thereabouts.
Or thereabouts.
So how would we fend that off? How would we meet them at the pass and stop their dastardly plan of turning half the world into flat earthers, the other half into diehard globalist religious freaks, and turning us against each other? Because that seems like the perfect plan. If I had a plan, that would be my plan.
Here's a message.
That
was weird.
All I know is they better bring more than a knife when they come to get me. That ain't gonna cut it.
They've got over the horizon radar, mate. They've got Coriolis bullets. How are you going to get away from them?
I'm Neil deGrasse.
Bitch.
They can do immense amounts of Coriolis calculations. They don't need a calculator or any of that, like some kind of ballistics computer. Those don't exist, right?
this brings me to a very interesting point, which I probably shouldn't mention now because, shit, we've been going for 3 hours, 21 minutes.
Yeah, you can mention it next week. I'm sure you remember.
No, I won't. So I'll mention it now, and I'll forget next week anyway and mention it again. So just something that me and Cami were talking about, or we were all talking about 3D modeling, and how if you 3D model a mirroscope in, say, CAD or 4D cinema or whatever it is, it doesn't work. And there was something else that we modeled that doesn't work. What was it? Anyone?
Heliocentrism?
Polarized lenses, exactly. Well done, Josh. They don't work either. So you can put polarized lenses into a 3D model and they don't work. So there's two things there that you can model in a 3D model and it does not recreate reality. So therefore, where does that leave 3D modeling?
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Not that I'm bitter about 3D modeling, sort of trying to say that the impossible moon phases don't exist, but they really do, because we don't live on a billiard ball. We live with mountains and trees and valleys and hills and all sorts of things. But just a word to the wise: 3D modeling may not be the answer to everything.
Well, I think it all comes back to the idea that it doesn't matter unless you built it from the ground up with your own ones and zeros. It's their software. Just like their software and the astronomy stuff, just like their software and the global shit. I mean, until we build these systems for ourselves, we're still running off their coordinates, their 93 million mile sun bullshit, their, you know.
Well, gents, I think that's it. I am spent.
Yeah, me too. It's been a long day, and I need to go kind of refresh myself for in 3 hours. Again, I'll be doing it again. So,
yeah, it turns out I got to go pick up a tuxedo.
There you go. Is that a euphemism?
Good love to everybody out in chat.
Yes, it is.
Thank you all in chat. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Roxanne. Thank you, Robin.
Yes, absolutely. It was great having you guys back around. We missed you.
Thank you. Thank you, Cami.
My God.
Well, that was not enough lettuce for me to nod off to.
Oh, this dude's still awake.
Still awake.
Well, there's still one more. Here, I think I've got one more.
Didn't
want you to miss out.
That's all that needs to be said about that.
Exactly. Tylenol.
We can ramble for hours, can't we? And he just sums
That's
it
what
up.
kept him alive. That's how he survived all those years. Fucking Tylenol. Lou Gehrig's disease and Tylenol.
Selfish, unempathetic bastard. Good night.
I love you guys.
Love you, man. Don't party too hard this weekend.
Pull the cable.
I had no promises.
Hit the button, Josh.
Oh, no, not that one? All right, right on. That reminds me, Walt, I did get in touch earlier today with some guy making some nice flat earth rock music. He was jamming on some heavy metal guitar, so I'm
Get me in touch. Yes,
will do. I'll tag you. He's there on Facebook. Just made friends today, so
yeah, get me on with that. That would be awesome.
He may even be in chat because I dropped the link to our live show tonight, so he may even have been in here or be here or something. So
that's actually what I planned on doing for the next couple of hours while I'm waiting for the next show. Is to no, I just read chat. Travis is going, no, don't go. Good night, Liz. Love you. We got to, Travis, man. We've been at this a minute, but yeah, I'm gonna go play my guitar.
Our Iron Maiden. Love you, Liz.
Yeah, thank you so much for hanging out this long. We tried to get as close to on time starting so that we could make sure you got as much as you possibly could, because I know it's late for you. So I'm glad you stuck with it this whole time. Thanks.
Oh, and shout out earlier, I saw Horace Sheet was here, and I'm per Alan Holman's instructions I got with him on the listing and the Flat Earth TV guide. So coming up, we should
all
be
of our shows listed now
correctly. And yes,
maybe that's how we get people to keep track of our shows.
we
Oh,
can't.
wait, you do 3 shows a week?
Right.
Yup.
Right. Yes, we do. We're that insane.
Ain't that the truth? All right, well, shit. I say we run a couple promos and get the fuck out.
Let's do it, man. Thank you, everybody. Cami, my God, thank you, Bob, for sharing Cami with us. Thank you, family, for sharing Cami with us. Robin, Roxanne, thank you guys. Chat, thank you all. Love you. You nutters, this Iron Realm team. Thank you all. It's been quite a ride we've had, and it just every time I think we've hit a plateau, it just keeps going up. So,
love you guys.
Yeah, I love you guys too.
Shout out to White Willow. Don't touch that Tylenol's it.
Just
shut up. Go
Just
away.
get us out of here. I'm down to
Pull
one
the
eye.
bloody
these two British nutters,
now.
yeah, get us out of here. They're derailed quick. They've lost the plot for sure.
So I have no idea what's on store for next week. It may be more Cami, as far as I'm concerned. We'll just
it could be
run
Cami
indefinitely.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Cami is good.
She won't come back anymore.
right. Till we run her off.
That's right. An invitation till she says no.
Rob runs her off. Love you, Rob.
I know you're done mowing, so you're listening in. All right, well, let's get the F out. Ladies, gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been one hell of a Flat Earth Friday. TGIF. We will see you all right back here next week for another episode of Have No Sphere. Or we will see you over there on Truth Frequency Radio on Tuesdays and Fridays at 4 a.m. Central, 2 a.m. Pacific, 5 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Hot damn, look at me go. Otherwise, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the show where you don't know if it's part of the show.
Welcome to Red Hen Radio, where truth fears no investigation. What do you know? What do you believe? Who are you? Where did you come from? Where are you going? How will you determine the way? What you think is news for you is only and absolutely propaganda. It's spin. There is no news for you. Only misdirection and disinformation. Join us here at Red Hen Radio as we discover how to squint when what we see isn't what ought to be. Because truth is not counterintuitive. Reading between the lines of the story you were just fed. I'm your host, Travis Finley. Welcome to the show. Do you know that you're part of the show?
Well, you don't know if it's part of the show.
Fears the monster. Fears the little death. This is Uncle Walt from the Ironworks. Josh, Corey, and I have chosen to look at life with no fear. No fear of the unknown. No fear of questions about the supposedly well-known. No fear of ridicule for thinking outside the familiar fool's lines. No fear of the boot on the neck of those refusing the party line. No fear of taking on those so convinced of their beliefs they would sooner drink the Kool-Aid than believe they've been fools made. In this world filled with me too, cattle think, can truth's protective layers be peeled back to show the tender, juicy pink? Are we all just grist for the mill? Souls sold against our will, or is that just how it feels? When you're filled to the rim, triviality so fear-filled and grim, break clear of the fear. Right here, Tuesdays and Fridays at 2 a.m. on TFR. Josh and I and you will hammer out the impurities of technology-driven groupthink, fold in a dash of logic, and punch it all with a bit of absurdity. Break clear of the fear.